Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday Sound Stream. Happy Labor Day for those of you in the U.S. Especially happy Labor Day to anybody that's on strike right now, because that's the whole point of things like Labor Day. So, welcome to the stream. Today's stream should be fun, pretty light. We're not ranking 308 Power Rangers like we did last week, which
we're
is
not doing
good.
this, but for all Sentai Senshi.
We're not doing one for all Sentai because I haven't even seen all the shows. I feel like I would just be out of my depth in that. But welcome to the chat. So before we get too far ahead, I'm of course Soundout, and then of course we have my two co-anchors of these Monday streams. We've got Ryan, the Dark Claw 643.
He's made of rubber. How'd that happen? Yo ho ho, took a bite of gum gum.
And then we have the Fighter Cows, the Jerry.
Yeah, how's it going? I'm tired.
Yeah, so am I. But yeah, today we're going to go over some news. We're going to discuss some stupid company stuff. I'm going to complain about Star Wars figures, and it'll be great.
So you're saying today is the rant stream?
I don't even know if it's a full rant stream. It's just going to be like, hey, I noticed something, and I want to talk about it because I haven't seen people talking about it. So, yeah. So anyways, Ryan, why don't you give us a rundown, everybody that popped up into the chat already?
Welcome, Silver Bricks, Muteki T, Someone, Hellfire, Muteki T, Spin Dash, Toma, Matt Radiant. Welcome to the chat, and remember everybody that to like the stream. Welcome SC4 Jason. Is remember to like the stream. If you want to join our Discord, link in the description below, and no swearing, or else you have to pay the super chat swear jar.
I have new facial expressions for this now. But yeah, no, it was a good time last week when we did the Ranger ranking. It's also been the most successful live stream viewership wise, like ever. So that's been awesome.
I wonder why.
Yeah, no, I think people really appreciate it, and people also checked it out later. In other news, I bought this Batmobile. This is the McFarlane 89 Batmobile because I didn't buy their Flash version because it sold out way faster than I thought it would. Their Flash version is basically the same as this, except it had like gold bat logos on the rims and like some gold in here. It's all silver on this one, but it's specifically packaged as the Batman 89 version with the opening canopy here, and then it's got 89 Michael Keaton Batman in there, looking all cool.
There is a difference. There is a difference. I think some people don't realize that there is a difference between the suits.
Yeah, he definitely, like, even in the movie itself, which I finally watched The Flash over the weekend. I'll talk about that in a moment. But he does have this suit, the 89 suit, in his display case of suits, so it is different. I do think the Keaton likeness on this is probably like the best one I've seen. I don't know, I want to say ever, but it's pretty solid. Like, that definitely is 100% his chin. But he's really cool. I'm not taking him out, though.
As good as, like, was the Mezco one that came out?
There's no reason to take him out.
There's no reason to take him out. I think it's a little bit better than the Mezco, honestly. If I'm being honest.
I mean, what's nice is are you getting the Batman 5-pack?
Yeah, I'm going to get the Batman 6-pack. That's supposed to be out in a couple weeks. He's staying in here. There's no point in him bringing him out because I'm getting a second one in the 6-pack. So... You know, there he is. I still want a Batman Returns version of him, and I want a sonar suit, Forever Batman, you know, ice suit, Clooney Batman. I like my Batmans. So yeah, it'll be fun.
I actually did found the Batwing figure that just came out recently. It's actually a really nice figure.
I think I'm waiting for a Luke Fox version.
Yeah, because I'm actually for the Luke Fox Batwing, but still, it's
good because we do have a Luke Fox from Mattel's line, as I point to the wall you guys can't look at right now.
It was next to the Walmart had it with the Nightfall Batman, and as much as I do want that mold because that mold is great, I don't want to have my shelf take up by 50 Batman variants. So like I'll take new Bat family member over another Batman to the army.
Yeah. Muteki asks, if you do a 4K Street Fighter comparison in the future, can you compare the shower scene? Yes, but I'd have to, because there is a... Discotek even announced this. They included the PG-13 version that cuts a lot of the shower scene out. So if I'm going to do a comparison, I'm going to have to do a lot of blocking, but it's going to be funny because I'm not going to do it just straight. Welcome, Collector K9 and Walkman of Doom. So speaking of The Flash, I finally watched it. My
Why?
opinion really hasn't shifted that much, to be honest. Out of everything I've seen from the leaks for years and all the stuff on Twitter and everything, I was like, let me finally watch this movie. It's incredibly weird. The movie has an incredibly weird sense of humor. And so the thing is, there's some really, really funny moments. There's some really cool moments. And then there's Michael Keaton, Batman's first action scene in 30 years, being slightly interrupted by Ezra Miller vomiting. So it's a weird movie.
I don't think I could stand that movie because actually, it's funny enough. I did watch the Snyder Cut yesterday, and I think that overall that movie is good.
That is a good movie.
As much as I'm not into Snyder Vision,
it's a little bit long, but it's a good movie.
But man, the worst part of that movie is there's Ezra as Flash. I just go shut up. Please.
I will tell you that if you don't like Ezra Miller as Flash in the Snyder Cut, where he's at his best.
That's his best.
Barry Allen in The Flash. There's two of them.
There's two of them.
And one of them is younger and more annoying. There is some good moments in The Flash. There is some good. I think Sasha Kaye was great as Supergirl. She just had nothing to do.
I think that's the thing is I don't mind I think from what I've seen she has barely any not even
she barely has
line.
She has dialogue, she has moments, but she doesn't really I don't know, she doesn't do a whole lot. I hope she gets to do something else because she carried the promotion.
It sounds like what you're saying, Sounda.
Yeah,
sounds like what you're saying is. She does and says stuff, but she doesn't really do or say anything.
Exactly.
Is she even playing Kara, or is she just
It is Kara, yeah. She is playing Kara.
Okay.
So they did say that in the movie too. And the thing is, I think that in general, like Flash is for me like a 5 out of 10 movie. There's stuff I like, and then there's a bunch of stuff I don't. And it just clashes into a that was okay.
And then those cameos make the movie a 1 out of 10.
I was just gonna ask.
I mean,
how do you feel about the Parade of Corpses?
I don't like the Parade of Corpses. Every time I've seen it, whether it was on the bootleg copy that had the lottery ads, whether it was on Twitter in high quality, whether it was in the movie itself, the parade of cameo corpses was just awful, and every time I see it, my brain just goes, and that's why the actors are on strike, because it is. I don't like it. I think I've talked about it before. I don't know if I've talked about it before on stream.
No, we never did.
I don't think we ever did. I don't like George Reeves being there because of his own struggle with feeling typecast as the character. I don't like Christopher Reeve being there with CG Helen Slater because my thought process would be if you wanted that same exact scene but done a little bit more lovingly, you'd have Brandon Routh as an older Superman with Helen Slater as an older Supergirl, which would be great.
Didn't they do that in the Crisis of Infinite Earths?
They didn't do it. They did it with Brandon Routh. Yeah, they brought him as Kingdom Come Superman in Crisis, and it was great. And then so I was like, put him there, put Helen Slater there as like an older Supergirl, be awesome. The other thing is
what was the Cavill scenes to be? Is that supposed to be like the alternate universe with the Snyder?
No, so there was a scene early in the movie where Barry finds out about his time travel. Essentially, every time Barry time travels through the Speed Force, he sees everything around him in really terrible CG. And so it was like flashing through DCEU moments. It was really kind of weird. And that's why they're like the really weird blobby CG Superman showed up in. And then that's what was like the context for the cameos later. But yeah, I didn't like Adam West being there because you could just do something with Burt Ward, which is, again, what Crisis did. The problem is that this movie is adapting Flashpoint, and then it tries to do Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff, which it already was done better on the CW. So.
I mean, the weirdest one is still like the Nick Cage. Like,
the Nick Cage one, you don't even understand what's going on unless you have understood that Kevin Smith wrote a version of the script.
It's one of the things where like that's cool and all, but like if you don't know anything about the whole the Superman Lives behind the scene nonsense, you just go like, "Why is Nick Cage here?"
Exactly. That's the thing too. Is the movie plays on a lot of in jokes for the most hardcore, diehard fans of things, which is just really weird. For example, there is probably my favorite joke in the whole movie, and I'll just spoil it because I don't think the movie is that good. My favorite joke in the whole movie is when Prime Universe Barry travels back in time, ends up in a different universe, and so he's trying to explain to his younger self how the time travel thing works, and brings up Back to the Future, and the other Barry is like, "Oh yeah, Back to the Future, that movie with Eric Stoltz." And that is a joke that goes over so many heads, except for me, dumb film nerd. Because Eric Stoltz was originally cast as Marty McFly, and then he was replaced with Michael J. Fox after filming. But in that universe that Barry put himself in, Eric Stoltz, and that is a funny joke for dumb film nerds, and that's it.
You know what that joke reminds me of? Remember Last Action Hero when the kid went to the video store to go see the Terminator Sandy, but it's Stallone.
Yep.
It's Arnie.
It's like that, and they had a few other follow up jokes to it, but it was only funny the first time. They just kept trying to hammer the joke in a little too much, and I think it's the problem too is they had some funny jokes, and then they would repeat the jokes like they were still funny, and it was like, okay, well. Also, I couldn't figure out if the movie was serious, emotional, character exploration, or insane, goofy Looney Tunes comedy, because it had both. It starts with an incredibly long Looney Tunes gag, and then ends with an incredibly emotional connection between Barry and his mom, before ending exactly with a Looney Tunes gag. It didn't know what it wanted to be.
This movie had to see a Barry putting a baby in the microwave.
That was part of the incredibly long Looney Tunes gag. So, but yeah, I don't know. Flash, I don't recommend watching it, but if you want to watch it, you might find something you like.
It's on Max. It's on Max. You don't
want to pay for it. I bought the Steelbook because DCEU collection. I'm gonna roll back because I missed some comments here. So first of all, let's see. I was reading some of this. Let's see. I did see Transformers Rise of the Beast. That is, no joke, my favorite live-action Transformers movie. Sorry, Bumblebee fans. I liked Rise of the Beast more. Bumblebee is a really nice movie. I think it's a great movie. I enjoyed Rise of the Beast more.
I still need to see it.
Muteki brought up a Watchmen reference. Yes, if anyone's never known this, the Watchmen comic was originally conceived as a deconstruction of the Charlton heroes that DC purchased, but then DC didn't want to do that, and so that's why Alan Moore had to change everybody. So Dr. Manhattan is Captain Atom, Rorschach was the Question, Night Owl was Ted Cord Blue Beetle, and then Silk Spectre was I forgot her name. She's the one Charlton hero that never got remembered. She was in the Blue Beetle DC Showcase short, Nightshade, I think.
Yeah, Nightshade.
Yeah. So that essentially everybody was like a pastiche of that, and then Ozymandias was like supposed to be like the new character, and that was what's supposed to throw you off, that like he's the true villain because he's not actually one of the Charlton characters. But that just didn't pan through. Yeah. So I think on that note, rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett and Steve Harwell. Kind of a rough weekend for music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and SSJ4 Jason, why didn't they use Zoom as the villain instead of Dark Flash? Honestly, the problem is they stick really close to the plot of Flashpoint, but then they're like, but instead of Superman, it's Supergirl, but instead of Thomas Wayne, it's Michael Keaton. Instead of Reverse Flash, it's Dark Flash. And it breaks the plot of the movie. So, good job.
Isn't there, what was it, because with the movie, wasn't there a, I'm actually blanking. There was like a weird cameo. Oh no, wait, the Jay was that Jay? I always get mixed information of that scene, the Jay Garrett, if that was Jay Garrett or not.
I think it was supposed to be. They don't provide any context, but I think it's supposed to be a Jay Garrick Flash in George Reeves' Superman's universe who was also trying to change history.
Because I get like when that scene was floating around Twitter, I get people saying it was Jay Garrett, but some people were not saying it was not Jay Garrett. Apparently, it was someone else. So
yeah, it was. People were like, "Wow, that looks like Teddy Sears' Jay Garrick from the Flash TV show." It wasn't. It was the editor's head slapped on a body that looked like Teddy Sears' Jay Garrick.
Yeah.
The other thing too. So here's the thing. Real quick, someone said he's eating his cheeseburgers in paradise. I always imagine that he's eating his cheeseburgers in paradise on the road to the Margaritaville. Thanks, Jimmy Buffett. So, anyways, I will say that I don't know. Is it spoilers? I'm gonna say it's spoilers. So the thing is, at the end of the movie, Barry tries to put everything back. You know, that's the resolution of Flashpoint. It's like puts everything back, and then something's different when he returns. He never finds out who killed his mom.
Because it was his dad was they established in Justice League both versions that his
dad gets
dad was
blamed for
framed.
it. In the comics, it was because Reverse Flash killed his mom, and his dad was there, so his dad got blamed because there couldn't have been anybody else. In the Flash, she just dies somehow, and Barry travels back, and he makes sure that he tries to change it so that she doesn't die, and then she doesn't die, and then he's in a different universe, and then he comes back. And there's, by the way, the movie loved spaghetti. They just there's spaghetti all over this movie. It's weird. I don't know if it's a metaphor. Someone really liked eating spaghetti, but so there's this thing at the end of the movie. He puts everything back, and then he says goodbye to his mom, and it's really sweet. And then afterwards, I'm like, wait, why didn't he just go look through the window and see who killed his mom? He doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So all they do is they essentially say, oh, his dad didn't kill his mom because here's the evidence, and but he never decides, oh, I should find out who actually did kill her. Just never addressed. I guess also because the ending of that movie was changed 6 times after filming. So
didn't they change it, or didn't they have Val Kilmer at the ending of the movie?
No, they had George. They have George Clooney in the final version. For some reason, George Clooney is there. Before that, it was Ben Affleck was there. Before that, it was Michael Keaton and Sasha Kaye that was there. Before that, it was something else. It was just the movie got hacked up really bad. Kyle Miller asks, favorite DC hero. It's always a 3-way tie between Blue Beetle, all of them, Hawkman, and Dr. Fate. Those are my 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's Superman. Superman, and not because
Superman's my number 4. He's right there.
Superman. I'm gonna look over my shelf. Can we count Constantine?
Yeah, I count Constantine.
Constantine, yeah, and then Plastic Man are always with Jessica Cruz and Simon. Specifically, Jessica and Simon. I feel like poor Simon Bass doesn't get enough love.
He got kind of overshadowed by Jessica. I realized he's standing behind her on my shelf.
Because I love both them equally. So it's kind of painful. Not that it's I love Jessica, but I wish Simon was always there with her. Me
too. Jerry, what are your favorite DC? Your 3 favorite DC characters?
2 and 3 are hard, but Superman's number 1.
I love Superman. He's great.
Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, and probably Wonder Woman.
I like it.
And right there is one nobody talks about, but Karate Kid.
Karate Kid gets no love, and he deserves it.
Karate Kid's great. Yeah. Shout out, by the way, My Adventure Superman just ended, and go watch it. It's great.
I've only seen one episode, but I'm going to tell you it's the best Superman show we've gotten in the last 20 years. Oh, wait, it's the only one?
Oh, man. No, seriously, it's that show is great. I love its new take on the characters, and it's it kind of depressed me as a Superman fan where I see people say oh, they finally stick Superman, but I can't blame them saying that because all their other media exposure was the Snyderverse and the DCEU
and Injustice. I want to watch the rest. By the way, I'm holding HBO Max hostage until they give me Doom Patrol. I'm not giving them money.
Hopefully you'll get a complete first season set.
I hope so too. I know they're working on a second season. The thing
season 2 is especially since animation is not counting strikes. It's probably coming next year, I imagine.
Yeah, they're still working on it. I'm excited. I want to see. The Amazon pre-orders for Battle Kaiju Series 2 versus Baltan are up. Nice. I wonder when it'll actually come out because Mill Creek keeps pushing back that one Ultra 7 repack. Yeah, Kyle says it's also shown that Spectacular Spider-Man would get torn apart online if it came out nowadays. Yup. God, people have been so dumb. That's the thing. I know a lot about what happens in My Adventures of Superman because of people and
the dumbest
online
takes,
thing.
The dumb takes I've seen for that show really
it's pretty legendary.
noise the crap out of me.
But yeah, no, the thing is for me, like, the fact that Titan Season 4 is coming out on Blu-ray prior to Doom Patrol Season 4 getting its last 6 episodes airing is a travesty, and I will not be paying for HBO Max until they give me Doom Patrol. And then I'm going to sub for 1 month, watch Doom Patrol, Superman, and the 4th season of Harley Quinn, and then I'm getting out again, because I don't like this company. So.
Good move. But yeah,
K9 and Spin Dash, is there an episode list? Because if there's an episode list, I'll go dig it up. If there's not, I'm just gonna we'll talk about it later. On that note,
but yeah, like not to go tangent on more DCAU because I feel we should do a ranking video. But man, watching.
Also Walkman and Doom says, what did you think of the Blue Beetle movie? I did a full review of it a couple weeks back, but it's my favorite movie of the year.
It's the best DC movie.
It's the best. I love it.
The Aquaman's honest. I watched Aquaman for the first time during my marathon DC. I love that movie.
That movie's fun. I especially love that there's a compilation on Twitter of how many times a conversation gets interrupted by an explosion.
Yeah, I know, right? It's great. But like
7-hour runtime. There's that many Baltan episodes I got?
My God.
Wow.
But with
someone says I keep Max for all the DCAU stuff. I would do that too, except a bunch of it's on Netflix, and I have it all on Blu-ray and DVD.
But like again, as I was saying, is again I respect Snyder's vision, but my God, I hate how they handle Clark in the DCEU so much. I think
my problem with it is that Clark doesn't exist in the DCEU.
Yeah, it's just Superman. No, not even Kal-El.
It's just Kal-El, yeah. The problem, I think, the biggest thing you can do with Superman to make him seem like he's this untouchable, godlike character is to lean only into his Kryptonian heritage. That's the problem. So.
And I think that's like the biggest problem with the Snyder, because my
biggest problem with the Snyderverse is it never got to fully cook. We got half the meal. I wanted to see how the rest of it played out.
Like again, I respect Snyder and his vision a lot, but man, I think when we got to the Superman revival stuff in the Snyder Cut, it kind of broke me how mad I was how they handled Clark in that situation.
I will say too, with someone said this, and I thought this was really smart. They said that Snyder's DC universe should have been an Elseworld story instead of the main story, and I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, we can do our, again, I feel like we need to do our own DC
we should
ranking.
Here's the thing. I don't know if Aquaman's coming out. They still have it dated, but they won't give us a trailer. They're not doing any marketing for it. They can't use the actors to market it. I don't know if Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is coming out. Okay? They may say they're either going to release it on December 12th, 2024, or they're going to scrap it completely. There is no delaying it. They're not going to delay it. It is either going to come out that day, or we're never seeing it. I think they should just stick it on Max as a Max original at this point.
Was there any like set leaks or anything like that for that movie? Or
no, because it was all shot on soundstage.
So yeah,
we've gotten a couple promotional images, but that's about it.
That movie is complete mystery land.
Yeah, it is.
We don't know nothing about that movie.
And here's the thing: I don't even need the franchise to exist for Jason Momoa's sake. He's so good in Fast and the Furious that I think he could save that franchise.
Every time I watch the scenes with Aquaman, I jokingly think, this is Jason Momoa out go and get the water for all the actors and writers for writer's check right now.
But yeah, no, the thing is, I think we will do a DCEU ranking when we know the fate of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, because that'll either be the last movie or Blue Beetle's the last movie. So, yeah, we'll see. Hey, should we do some news time, guys? You think we should do some news? Favorite Commander series, Commander to V3. Always and forever. Every writer show I've seen since, I've always been like, that was good, but it wasn't V3, or that was bad, and V3 is better. It's always V3 for me.
I think for me, it's a tie between probably Kuga still. I think
Kuga's terrific.
I think
V3.
I need to see V3 still. But Kuga, I think it's Godai that makes Kuga my all-time favorite.
V3 for me, the reason why I say it's the best writer show, and I do think it is the best writer show, and I mean this unobjectively, the best, it's because it was after the first series, so they got all the kinks worked out. It's before they have to reinvent the franchise each year to keep it fresh. And they had no safety laws to follow for stunt performance. So you get, and then on top of that, you have really well done characters. So it's like you get all the experience of the first 98 from Kamen Rider, plus the sort of traditional formatting that the franchise is more familiar with. It started doing the 2-episode formatting thing before shows like Den-O were doing it. And then on top of that, you have the most insane stunts that you will ever see in the franchise, because after that, there were laws in place that they could never do anything like that again.
Never again.
So it's this perfect point in time. It's this perfect intersection of like creativity and lack of restrictions, and that's what makes V3 the best. Because I think that like any of these other shows, they're all like most Kamen Rider shows are good. Honestly, there's more good writer shows than bad writer shows. But I don't think any of them can top V3 because of the perfect lightning in a bottle moment that show is. So
We're talking about Ultraman. Yeah. I think we were talking about like favorite Ultra series. I think that will probably be like have to be split in eras, because I think
because each Ultraman era is structured differently. Like it would be unfair to compare Orb to Tiga because Tiga has twice as many episodes.
Yeah. Because I say my favorite show will always be Taro, because how. It's so Taro is just like magic, because was it they had to tone it down because of the massive violence in Ace.
Yes.
So and there by that logic they thought we'll just make every
kind of like how Stronger was a bit lighter because of Amazon's violence.
Yeah, it's like for Taro, it's like, all right, let's just create the most balls to the wall series of all time.
What was it? People on Twitter were doing the "What's the most out of pocket Ultraman" moment, and someone just posted the poster to Taro.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we get too off track, ranking Ultra shows, because my answers always will be Showa, Ultra Q, Heisei, Nexus, New Gen, Decker, because people hate when I say that I like Decker that much. Let's get on to the news before we get... We still have some news to go through. I think we've had fun. All right, you guys ready to do this?
Yes.
All right, as a reminder, if you're trying to back the Star Wars Vintage Collection, The Ghost Haslab, you have 2 days, 7 hours. Well, let me refresh because I haven't had this up in a bit. You have 2 days, 6 hours, and 29 minutes. It is currently at 13,448 backers. It has made its base funding, which will include the Phantom and Hera. But if you do want these stretch goals, like Ezra has been unlocked, but we are still a couple hundred away from Kanan and about 3,000 away from Zeb. So yeah, and then they did this, and this is the thing I didn't like. They said, "Oh yeah, if we get past 17,000, we'll also make the matching Sabine and Chopper, and they'll be available at retail." And I'm like,
why?
Why?
It's like why a lump? It's like making a Power Rangers team where like always that's like Sentai P Man. I remember mine.
I was about to say that's like Hasbro Lightning Collection, where we only get 3 Dino Fury Rangers, and you get to like it.
But here's the thing. Like that. But like here's the thing. At least they're all retail.
It's kind of like making a Megazord cockpit for like Mighty Morphin, and they give you Tommy, Jason, Kimberly, and then if that happens, then we'll get Zach and Billy at retail, and you'll wonder where's Trini the whole time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. I agree with a lot of people where it's like, why don't you just bump the price up and then just include all the figures and then just try to get as many sold at that point? Because I think the longer we've done these crowdfunding things, the longer Kyle said, like making 3 of the Psycho Rangers, never doing the rest. Yep.
3. I thought it was only 2.
Bandai did get Psycho Blackout.
Oh no, we get the Bandai. I thought you were talking about Lightning Collection. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, they did fix that with a 5-pack. I don't know why this. Either this should have come with no figures and then sold the box set. Like there should be a Ghost box set of like the crew, right? Your main Rebels cast as a box set, and then you can buy that. And then if you want the ship, you come to HasLab and buy the ship. Because there's a bunch of people that want just the Ghost crew without having to buy this ship and hope it makes all the tiers. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all.
I think this is a better deal than say the Engines of Vengeance Because I think that.
Oh, definitely. This thing is bigger than the big ass Millennium Falcon.
I
Like,
think the
size-wise,
End
it's
is a
huge.
total poo show because I just don't think no one knew what they were doing in terms of making that campaign. Well, at least this one, it's specific for Rebels fans, but I also feel like
Yeah.
it's specific for Rebels
It's
fans.
not
I
like
just think,
it's not like with the Engines of Vengeance where the stretch goals were completely different franchises.
yeah, here it's all specific Rebels, but just the way how they're handling it, just like what?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we've done this a few times now. Just include all the figures, even if the price is higher, and then watch and see how many people back it. You know, like the stretch goal thing is good for publicity, and that's about it. But even then, it's not working anymore. Because look, we are 2 days away, and we're still 4,000 short of getting everybody. And then also, that's not even everybody because Sabine and Chopper don't exist. Chopper exists only as the little headpiece on the Phantom. The other thing I do want to point out is due to timing. Just once again, just like the Rancor's Haslab campaign finishing before it appeared in Book of Boba Fett, this is going to finish. I think if the Ghost is in Episode 4 of Ahsoka, this will finish the same day it shows up in Ahsoka.
Was it from the Razor Crest? It blew up the day.
The day the campaign ended, the Razor Crest blew up. Yep. So it's poor timing yet again because I know it is Rebels themed, but they were advertising it as an Ahsoka item. You can see the Ahsoka logo here, but we haven't actually seen the Ghost in Ahsoka yet. So if it doesn't show up in this week's episode, that's it. Like you're not going to get the people. For whatever reason, people are watching Ahsoka without watching Rebels, because some people are scared of animation. They're named Bob Iger. But I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I'm not buying it because I don't know the room. It looks great though. I might buy the Lego set.
I mean, it's one of those things where and this one thing I know that I think every collector agrees upon is they like to go. They rather have like if you could give us an option where we can have the full team.
Just give us the full team.
We'll get that one. Yeah, it's like like how many Turtle fans only would pick up a Turtle line one if only you do a Turtle box set. For
like if I can't buy all 4 Turtles at once, I just won't buy them. Okay. In other corporate BS news. All right. So Shin Ultraman's Cleopatra Entertainment release.
Let's see. This is part 3 of the Ultraman. The Cleopatra Ultraman.
No, this is like part 25, bro. Spin Dash posted the GIF of the Always Sunny conspiracy board with Charlie Day, and I'm just like, yep, that's where we're at. Okay, so someone on the Blu-ray.com forums sent an email to Cleopatra Entertainment asking if the people who got the replacement disc can get the new 3rd edition disc. So just so I'm going to try a slight recap. I don't want to spend too much time on this. There is a 3rd edition of this disc coming out. I did a whole video on the 2nd edition of the disc and talked about all the problems there. And they say there's a 3rd edition coming. Again, not through a press release, not through social media, not through their website, but simply through people emailing them through the customer service line. Very frustrating. So they say, as a general rule, we're not replacing 2nd edition copies of Shin Ultraman, whether purchased directly or received through our initial replacement program. The 3rd edition will be able to purchase on our website as soon as we receive it, which should be in about 2 weeks. We're currently shipping out the 2nd edition copies to purchasers, but we'll switch as soon as we get the new ones in. Unfortunately, distributors seem to still be selling the previous version, so if you want the 3rd edition, I recommend purchasing it through us. If I was allowed to, I'd love to give this company a giant middle finger. What is even going on here? So let's break this down because I have so many problems with this. First of all, there's still how do I put this? Their replacement disc still has problems. I covered that in my video. They still have problems. Okay? Then they're like, we're going to do a 3rd disc. But they're going to run out of the 2nd edition discs for replacements first. Then the 3rd disc will be available for purchase on their website directly, but not going out as replacements until they run out of 2nd edition discs. And then if you have the 2nd edition disc, which they currently do not think was good enough because they're putting out another edition, they want you to buy it.
Buy, because they're saying F you to people who bought the second edition, pretty much. It's like, sorry, you already got edition. We can't give you another replacement.
I complain about Disney a lot, but they're not this scummy. This is this legitimately feels like a scam at this point. Like, it's not actually a scam, right? But like,
because they legally got it. Yeah,
I feel like I have wasted so much time and so much of my life covering this insane company's stupid decisions, and I'm so done. I'm so done with this. And I'm gonna wait to see, when people get the 3rd edition disc, is it actually even better?
What? Like, why even for subtitles?
Why even tell this to somebody who's asking for a replacement disc? Why is this not in a press release? I'm done.
Like,
I've got nothing else to say.
It's so baffling that, we should have just done, it should have just been released. All the subtitles from bad, replacement disc, end of story, like most companies.
I've never seen a company issue a 3rd edition of a disc. That's what's driving me insane. And this is a small, again, this is like the 2nd time I've run into music label company does Blu-ray and doesn't know what they're doing after the RoboCop the series that was remastered in HD but freaking looks like a bootleg VHS tape on a disc. And that was another music company that happened to do things. I don't know. I don't know what to do about this, guys. I don't want to buy it. I'm not buying another disc. I'm leaving my video up because I don't think this 3rd edition is gonna be any better. To be honest, I'm gonna leave it to somebody else to buy it. I wasted enough time and money on this company.
It's so baffling.
Yeah.
Again.
This is the Always Sunny in Philadelphia gif was a good comparison because this feels like a sitcom plot.
Yeah.
Not a legit actual company. I don't get it.
Well, it's so weird because I understand that Subaraya is out of the question because
they have no say in it.
So the start it was Subaraya and Toho, Subaraya made the movie, Toho distributed the movie, then Toho went to film festivals to sell the movie instead of just tuning a big name or anything like that, or even Mill Creek, which are and I know people are like, why did you give the Mill Creek? Well, Toho doesn't work with Mill Creek. They don't have any relationship.
Well, actually, they kind of do because Mill Creek has licensed Toho stuff before, but Mill Creek has to go to them to do it.
Yeah.
And also, Toho doesn't own the movie anymore.
Yeah, because in this scenario, it wasn't.
It was sold to the exchange, and the exchange. From what I can tell, based on these no-name companies that have zero web impact in history online, the exchange distributes almost every movie that Cleopatra has released on Blu-ray. So they just went to their usual people.
And in this scenario, it's
and instead of just being a D-list movie that's already produced in English, they gave them a high-profile, media franchise that freaking gets millions of views on YouTube just from its weekly episodes, and this no-name company doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
It's so weird.
I'm sorry for complaining about Mill Creek at any point in time, guys, because clearly anything, even their most screwed up release was better than anything Cleopatra has done.
It is so funny because sometimes I rewatch some of the older Ultraman Blu-ray videos, and I feel like they kind of aged not poorly, but more of man.
We didn't know how good we had it when the Gridman subtitles were awful because that was the only problem. Yeah, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on from this.
Oh man, this is Shin Kamen Rider. If that ever gets home mini release, I hope it's more smoother.
Honestly, at this point, because of how Shin Godzilla was treated and how Shin Ultraman was treated, do we even want a Shin Kamen Rider Blu-ray? Do we even? Is it just a cursed moniker?
The Shin title.
Unless
you're Ava.
I want Kyle says give Shin Kamen Rider Discotek. I want Discotek to shake Toei down for that movie. Or even Media Blasters. I want somebody with competence to shake Toei for the rights to that movie.
A professional DVD company that at least
Yeah.
that handles foreign films because
Yep.
like I don't know what Cleopatra Entertainment's other
They
release
have
stuff
one other
are like.
foreign film, and I have no idea if it's good because it's some movie nobody even
Like
cares
here's the thing,
about.
I imagine how basic from what I've seen of if Shin Ultraman is like any of the other films, it's pretty bare bones. Bare bones release, which is fine for the Z list films they get. Which a bare bones release. That's with closed captions. That's fine for a company like them. But like when it comes to releasing a foreign film, there's a lot more care you need to put in
Oh,
because
the
you can't just dump.
Shin Ava's getting a 4K from Shout. Okay, so one broke the curse. Frickin' Ava.
Yeah, but still, like, with you can't just dump MP4 file on disc
Yeah.
in like menus.
No,
You
the
have
part that
to
bugs me
make.
is the fact that there's an MP4 file with burned in subtitles that was sent to theaters that they couldn't just dump on a disc.
Mhm.
All right, we're moving on. Let's talk about some other BS company stuff.
It never ends.
Yeah, the for anyone wondering, the Media Blasters Kamen Rider stuff has just been delayed because Media Blasters had to restructure their entire business, and they've been relying on hentai because it's cheap to license, sells well, and they can get their quick profit turnarounds. They did finally put up for pre-order Doom Megaopolis, which was a movie that they announced prior to their Kamen Rider gets. And Doom Megaopolis is not a hentai; it's an actual scripted film. So
Yep.
I'm hoping because
Someone,
Doom Megaopolis is coming out, Kamen Rider is going to be coming next.
you know someone you laugh, but again, porn sells.
It does. It always does. Kaus, do you have any
Yeah.
thoughts on dumb company? Muteki was just wondering if you were still here.
Oh no, I had to leave for a sec, and I'm about to leave again at 6 because I have an interview.
Everybody
short
wish
one.
Kaus a good luck on his phone interview.
Cass has
Yeah.
important adult stuff to do.
Yeah.
Boy.
Nothing related to toys.
All right, now to this tweet. Someone tweeted at Brian Ward, who is one of the lead producers at Shout Studios. Got to remember they changed their name from Shout Factory to Shout Studios. Everybody's wishing you a good luck on your
Well, thank you.
your interview. Okay, so someone asked Brian Ward on Twitter, "Hi, I was wondering if you could possibly say everything is all right with the Super Sentai releases. It's been a while since new ones were announced, and some people are worried it's once again having rights issues." And so Brian Ward said, "Unfortunately, without the aid of what was once Saban, these deals will always take a little longer to work out. But don't lose hope. While I can't promise anything, I keep my fingers crossed." This is the most honest answer about any of the Shout stuff we've ever gotten.
I mean,
ever.
This fully confirms that this is the whole like conspiracy theory of Hasbro not wanting. It's just simply because Bandai Saban had a good
For
relationship
essentially,
with
from what
Toei.
I understand, how it worked back when Saban handled the franchise, is that Shout would say, "Hey, Saban, we want to license Jetman." And then Saban would be like, "All right, cool." And then Saban would go broker the deal and be like, "All right, here's your rights, have fun."
They're pretty much the middlemen.
They were the
Pretty much
middlemen,
like that.
and they would make the deals happen. Because I do remember back when they first got Jew Ranger, Brian Ward talked about, "Oh, why are we doing Super Sentai?" Well, it's because we did Power Rangers, and we wanted to continue that relationship, and so we wanted to. We needed a way to continue it, and we were out of Power Rangers, so Haim Saban had suggested, "Why don't you license Super Sentai?" And then Saban Brands was doing those deals for him. It's also why I imagine we got 3 Sentai sets back to back, like we did, because essentially, I imagine, and this is just me hypothetical, based on what I know, Brian Ward and his team at Shout have to go to Hasbro and say, "Hey, we want to license Abba Ranger," and then Hasbro has to go to Toei to say, "Hey, we need to license Abba Ranger for releasing its original form," and then Toei says, "Okay, here you go," and then Hasbro goes, "All right, here's Shout, have fun." Mutagi D says Saban was pro import Sentai. Saban was pro money in any way he can get it. So the thing is, that's how I imagine it works. Shout asks Hasbro, Hasbro asks Toei, or Shout has to ask Toei because Hasbro's like, "We don't want anything to do with this. We'll just approve it." But the thing is that when it was Saban Brands, and having talked to Melissa Flores about this as well, they were like a really small company, okay? They were like, she was, like Melissa said, officially I was like a producer, but I did 10 or 12 different jobs because we didn't have people to cover all the jobs. So when you have a small company like Shout, they're a smallish company like Shout and a smallish company like Saban talking to a big company like Toei, the Shout to Saban part goes smooth. It's just a phone call. It's done. With Hasbro, because they're a gigantic corporation, Shout has to ask Hasbro. Hasbro has to push it up the chain, get it back down the chain, then send it to Toei, which goes up the chain, comes back down the chain, comes back to Hasbro, goes back up and down the chain, then it gets back to Shout. So
Hasbro's a much bigger company, Saban, because remember, Saban had just only Power Rangers. They tried Digimon, but that didn't do well.
Saban Brands, because Saban Entertainment was a different company, but Saban Brands was essentially like 15 people in an office making stuff happen.
Like there was,
compared to the thousands of people that work at Hasbro.
This is the reason why back in the Yale days of 3 or 5 years ago, there's the reason why Melissa and Jason were very vocal, because they're probably the only people running the social media stuff, probably.
Melissa was saying that she was coordinating events, being a producer, coordinating dubs for the Glitter Force and for Digimon. You guys go check it out. It's on Hero Club at heroesclub.com. Search Melissa Flores' name, you'll find it. It was a very insightful interview because she did a ton of stuff at that company that wasn't part of her job title because they just needed to get it done. So I think... So this is what it sounds like to me, is that working with Saban was much easier than Hasbro, because Hasbro has to go through more levels of approvals.
I get, if you just talk about the current state of the franchise with Hasbro. If you're wondering why things just don't feel the same like they used to, it's because Hasbro's a much bigger company. With Saban and Bandai, that was their bread and butter. That was their Bandai eventually just fully Bandai just fully was kind of not merged with Bandai Namco, but they're all Bandai. I feel like is more one unified company now versus back then where it's Bandai America, Bandai Japan, all that stuff. There was they'll get some licenses here and there, like the Big Hero 6 toys or Miraculous Ladybug, but their bread and butter was gonna be only Power Rangers. Until they got Dragon Ball again, funny enough. And then Saban, it was just only Power Rangers, and you get stuff like Glitter Force and Digimon as an experimental thing, because those are all Toei productions. So again, they had
they had a really good Toei. I would imagine that they brokered the deal for Shout to get Digimon for Digimon Adventure Try.
Yeah, so again, it's there's a reason why Power Rangers the brand just doesn't feel dare anymore, because not because Hasbro cares more for the other properties, but Hasbro has thousands of IPs.
Yeah,
of course, ones that ones that get lost in the mix,
and especially because it's just the more people that work on the corporate level, the more approvals have to happen to spend money on anything. It's why McFarlane Toys, you can see them pop out a DC figure less than a year from when the character debuted, but it'll take Marvel Legends at least 2. And it's because of paperwork approvals. It just takes less time and you have less people.
McFarlane, they're the master toy, they're the full master toy licensor. For example, for
DC, they do collector product.
Yeah, and besides, I bet Todd has good connection with DC still.
Yep. He still does work for them sometimes. He did that Batman Spawn crossover.
Versus, Hasbro's just toy company. And and to be fair, Hasbro, looking back, Hasbro has never been. I think the thing with Power Rangers, I think a lot of people don't realize, is this is really their only kind of show like this. Because if you think back to any Hasbro production, they're all animation.
Yeah,
they're all animation. I think there used to be 1 or 2 live action productions here or there, but it's 90% animation. So if you're wondering why cosmic figures such as feel so weird, it's because it's Hasbro experimenting, I imagine.
Really? It also, I think, was Hasbro making sure they didn't get caught with their pants down and not doing anything for the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Okay, so going through the chat, Kaiju1954 said, would Shout have to also go through Hasbro for Kamen Rider? No, they had to go directly through Toei. part of the reason why we haven't seen more Kamen Rider is because Toei charges a lot of money for Kamen Rider shows. I can't say specifics, but I have heard from individual sources what the dollar amounts are on some of these shows, and it is absolutely insane. So I don't blame them for holding off on doing another show right away. Also, Toei is planning to do more unified global expansion plans with Shirakura.
I mean, hey, you can go watch Kamen Gotcha on YouTube. Oh, wait.
Yeah, the same thing happened with 01. That's why I didn't bring it up as a news topic. The other thing, too, is Kyle says, I also think we already have half of the Street Fighter 2 cast as prototypes from Jada. Yeah, Jada's small. The thing is, like, all they have to do is get approval from Capcom. In their corporate ladder, they don't have to go that high up to get the approval to show something. They can just be like, all right, here it is. They don't even have necessarily approved by Capcom by the time they show them.
Why do you think NECA has NECA's been doing the Turtles since when? Fully embraced fully
embraced it since 2019.
19? And we have hundreds of figures though.
Yep. Because all they have to do is Nick just has to sign off on them. But NECA, they have their own structure and they don't have to get, because the thing is, if someone at Hasbro wants to make a figure, they have to get it approved by the team, by the manager, by the department head, by the head of the department, all the way up to corporate to make sure they get the funding for everything. Whereas NECA's like, yeah, just do it, because they all know each other sitting in the same office. To continue off that, Paul Track says, so you're saying I'm never getting Mystic Knights again. And that is not anybody's fault but the Irish production company that worked with Saban on it.
Yeah, Mystic Knights is a weird case because unlike, say, Beetleborgs or...
Because Shout tried to get Mystic Knights, but they were denied because of the Irish production company. Because they still own rights to it. Let's see. Almost every Transformers thing is a disc release, so why not Beast Morphers Dino Fury? Same question, why not Cyberverse? Why not the rest of RID 2015? Hasbro's just really hands-off on home video. And that may be another reason why Brian Ward is not so, he's like, nothing solid yet. It will happen when it happens, but, Hasbro maybe just be like, oh, that's just DVD stuff. We don't need to worry about that right now. And it can just push to the bottom of the stack. I would imagine Shout has to apply, has to request a Sentai show 4 or 5 times before it actually gets a response.
What I imagine is why we haven't got any Hasbro DVDs besides Earthspark, but that's because of Paramount. It's because I'm pretty sure Hasbro is old people. Who needs that home media release? We can just rely on streaming.
Yep.
That stuff.
But yeah, Paramount very much is like, there's money in home video. We're going to do it. Viacom is way bigger than Hasbro. They're like 3 or 4 times the size. They're a massive, massive company.
Hasbro's just a toy company.
Muteki was mentioning how TV won't let the current writer on stream. Yeah, Gotchard was on Bandai Japan's channel without subs. It was supposed to have been region locked. It wasn't. That was a mistake. They fixed it. That's just how it always goes.
Go watch Ultraman Blazar.
Go watch Ultraman Blazar. There's English dub and an English sub, and it's free, so have fun. All right, strike updates. The SAG-AFTRA strike has been going on for a while, and at first it didn't include video games or animation. That is starting to change. SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher has announced that they will be seeking a strike authorization vote in the video game industry. So essentially, what that means is that the union itself, and specifically the actors that work in video games, need to authorize a strike to happen against the industry. And so essentially everybody votes. The vote for the film and TV business strike was like a 97% of members said, let's go on strike. It's probably going to be something like that as well here. Fran Drescher had this to say because, boy, this lady knows how to make some speeches. Once again, we are facing employer greed and disrespect. Once again, AI is putting our members in jeopardy of reducing their opportunity to work. And once again, SAG-AFTRA is standing up to the tyranny on behalf of its members. The disease of greed is spreading like wildfire, ready to burn workers out of their livelihoods and humans out of their usefulness. We at SAG say, not on our watch. And this is very much in the response to, I believe there was, I don't remember if it was a fan game or a mod, or if it was an official thing, but I did see some video game voice actors upset because their voices got used by AI and transmogged into a game.
It was some, I don't think it was I think it was some weird Steam shovelware trash.
Yeah, that's right, it was on Steam, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, I saw this, it was, like there was a streamer playing this
Mhm.
like Steam shovelware trash, and it had an AI voice actress Erica Limbick,
Yes,
and
that's right.
she talked about that on her Twitter, and it got like a big attention, and
And
then
and a
a
big
lot of
thing of that
other
too is that the studios are not standing up for the actors either. They're not doing anything
yeah,
about it.
and am I so far a lot of the AI stuff has been like small indie game or trash fire
Mhm.
shovelware on Steam. But like right now, I saw like for example some voice actors like quit like left their roles because that company started using AI voices
Yep.
and like they went nope I really they went like I'm here to announce that I left the role of character and such.
And so because of that,
So
for clarification, this is specifically actors. This isn't developers yet.
so
Um,
Soul Man Street Fighter 6 is a union.
yes.
It's a union production.
So I don't remember exactly. I'm sure discussing film is a great resource during the strikes because they are not
I
owned by
love.
anybody that is friendly with the studios, and they do not pull any punches in their reporting.
Yeah, they don't pull any punches.
I love how a few months ago everyone was like, "Is discussing film just a clickbait Twitter account?" And now
No.
it's like, no, they're like the best at reporting. Like, you can go look at anything about the strikes, and they will always say if something gets delayed, it's always because the studio is refusing to
Refuse
pay
to
their
pay their
actors fairly.
actors and writers.
Yeah. So here's a question. So for first of all, to answer this question, they did cite not developers or development studios, but publishers. They mentioned WB Games, EA, the Activision, those kind of guys. They listed all of them, and that'll be the strike against them.
Because developers have no control with like the
Right.
voice acting.
They are specifically going after publishers, which is good. I did not see them cite Nintendo though, so that was kind of
Nintendo is
interesting.
pretty
Because I think Nintendo's been fair.
Like
Yes, they did list
Nintendo.
Insomniac, but that was via PlayStation.
Yeah, like Nintendo, from what I've seen, it's not like I don't think they use any AI. Which
The
is
other thing
good.
too is Nintendo of America has nothing to do with the actor rights stuff because it's all handled by Nintendo Japan. So I don't think they can go on strike against Nintendo Japan because they're not here.
Yeah,
They're in Japan.
because it's not like Nintendo like it doesn't like if you your pay for voicing a Nintendo game is not gonna be great. Like I know Sean Chiplock who voices one of the main champions in Zelda Breath of the Wild, his paycheck for that game was not like great, but like it was not great. So it's not like, oh, because you work for a Zelda game, you're gonna get triple buck. No, it's not like that. But it's not like they don't treat the actors horribly or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I'd say Nintendo is more fair. I don't say they're totally fair because Miyazaki did bring up, they didn't credit the original Metroid Prime team for the remaster. They typically do use non-union voice actors. They will sometimes use union actors. They're kind of like one of those 50-50 companies.
They're getting better now because I think
they're starting to improve. I think on a lot of things.
I think Fire Emblem Engage was union.
Yeah,
I want to say that was
Engage
a
was
game.
union. Yes. I did want to address a couple comments real quick. Jojo Star says, how much longer do you think this will take? I honestly there was the studios wanted the strike. The studios wanted the strike settled by Labor Day. Hi, it's Labor Day. It's still not happening. Part of the problem is that the unions want to negotiate and the studios don't. So everything's just at a standstill. And now, the longer that these go on, the more the unions are like, video game actors, how would you like to join us? And then eventually it's going to be animation actors. How would you like to join the strike? Because the more that they've been not working, the more they've been networking and understanding where the other parts of, like the acting industry has been failing. And this is video games, the next one. And I think they're also doing it because there's a strategy for this. They're doing this because we're about to hit an onslaught of games between September and December. There's going to be so many games coming out. And if they go on strike, because currently the authorization vote ends, I think, in the end of September, so they would go on strike in early October if the publisher, or it'd be in October when the actors would be going on strike if the publishers don't agree to the terms. And that is right when all these games are coming out. And I think it's very timed to be disruptive because that's how strikes work.
Spider-Man 2 is about to come out next month.
Yep. Ton of stuff.
A big release.
The thing is, it will not delay any of those games, but it could affect the marketing. Because if the actors are on strike, they won't market the games.
And also, like, I'm not sure, like, the DLC for that, like, if the games get DLC, I'm not sure if those are recorded ahead of time or anything like that.
Yeah, it
but,
all
like,
depends. It depends on the production cycle, because if they haven't recorded yet, then get recording if they're on strike. Muteki T says, "Where's The Rock, Kevin Hart, Bryan Cranston, Chris Hemsworth, Jason Momoa, John Cena, Ryan Reynolds?" Jason Momoa donated a ton of water to the people on strike. A bunch of the other people you listed have donated money to the fund to help make sure people don't go homeless. From being on the strike. So a lot of the higher tier celebrities, because essentially it's like 1% of people are making a ton of money off acting. 2% of people can make a living off acting, and then the rest of them are the people that are struggling and that are on strike. And so now, so the ones at the top are supporting the ones at the bottom, either financially or things like Momo's giving water, that kind of thing. Because they can't be out on the picket lines, because if you put somebody like Ryan Reynolds on a picket line, the media is just going to swarm him, and it'll take away the focus from the strike.
It'll take away the point.
It'll take away the point, and it's also a security risk for fans coming up because they're picketing on public streets. So
like,
those high-tier actors will do donations, and they'll support things that way because it would be dangerous for them to be on the picket line.
Like, if Ryan Reynolds did join the picket line, all the news media will go like, Ryan Reynolds is on strike, and take away the point, take away the... It's every actor, not just Ryan Reynolds. That's what's going to be the problem.
Exactly. LPH says, "We got a price hike on PlayStation, Xbox. Now we got a strike possibility 2 weeks later." Yeah, because that's exactly how the film industry worked, right? They're raising the prices of streaming services while, they're raising the price of streaming services, but not saying, "Oh, we're going to use that money to pay our people fairly," because these companies just are here for their greed. So let's see. Should JoJo start hopefully before Christmas? Yeah, we'll see what happens. This could be, at some point, these strikes are going to hit a point where the studios aren't budging, and the unions are not going to budge either, because the unions are super strong. SAG and the WGA are super united in this. At some point, some government official is going to have to step in, and then it's going to get really messy, but then it'll be over. Because I think at this point, we're not going to see, welcome Vision Films, we're not going to see an end to this if the studios don't change how they're doing things. Because the studios got a counteroffer from the WGA and then just didn't respond to it, and nothing's going to happen that way.
I think it's like such a baffling, because like without these actors and writers, like you can't make content, and like look, like even
they're gonna run out soon. They're running low now.
If they go like, oh, AI, look, like even with how stupidly advanced AI is, they can't. I don't think AI can like fully make a show.
The thing we got to remember is that AI can't make a show, and the studio executives are too stupid to think that it could. They're dumb enough to think, oh yeah, we can make a show using only AI and it won't cost us anything. And that's the problem, is the executives are kind of ridiculous idiots. And it's been proven time and again. Anybody that's worked in the industry knows by now that, yeah. So, Kevin Bacon was on the picket line. Some other actors, like Florence Pugh, was on the picket line, But, your highest tier actors won't be out there because of the security and the attention that's coming from it.
Yeah,
and reality shows can keep going because they've never been unionized. That's
reality. But you think not reality shows.
Not everybody likes reality shows.
Yeah, that's like you're gonna run out of people will get bored of it eventually, and nah. So you can't rely on reality shows forever.
JoJo Stars thinks, do y'all think they'll remove the human characters from Sonic 3 because they started filming the CGI scenes? No, because they have contracts. They would have to pay out the contracts on the human cast for them not to be there. They could not afford to do that, and they could not afford to do an all CG characters only movie.
Again, they're only doing the VFX stuff because I think a lot of people don't realize that this happens with all movies. They do VFX stuff without the actors first. A lot of times, I think people don't realize this. This isn't because
the thing is, if the Directors Guild didn't go on strike, and that's why they can do it. But that being said, more VFX people are voting to more VFX in-house people. Each studio are voting to join the IATSE union. So yeah, they gotta really start just you got to start negotiating these things and learning to pay people and promising protections against AI, because
like how like
it's just going to become a slippery slope. The longer these strikes go on, the more people in the industry are like, we should be on strike. Why aren't we on strike too? And now it's starting to spread to other industries like video games as well. So
like
very
like,
interesting stuff.
For the Sonic 3 thing, they even said like we want the team filming into the strike into the actors and writers get paid.
Mhm.
Then they specifically said they want those actors to be paid.
Yep.
So like
because the thing is, it's always like the directors and the crew. They all want to be paid fairly as well, and they want their fellow filmmakers to be paid fairly. It's the studio. It's the top. It's the rich people that run the studios that are being the problem. And I think that's where we're at with the strikes. We'll see if anything happens in the next week. It's not looking like it. The more likely news that we have next week is not any resolution to either strike, but just more people joining the strike. That's kind of where we're at the moment. But rolling back around to Godzilla. First things first, the rumor has been floating about, and I do want to kind of address it. So there's this rumor floating about that Criterion, the Criterion Collection is a long-running physical media collection going back to the Laserdisc days. They had previously released all the Godzilla Showa films in a giant book. I reviewed it at one point. Their film imprint, Janus Films, which is the one that actually kind of gets the rights to movies and then like allows them to distribute stuff. There was a rumor that they have acquired all of the Millennium era films and the Heisei era films for a box set or something like that. So ET13 Productions on Twitter clarified some of the details, and I wanted to kind of relay this because I think this kind of relates some of the stuff because we weren't exactly sure what the rights were holding. I have checked this information out. It is pretty much on point here. And I definitely wanted to address this prior to talking about Godzilla Minus One. Kyle, to answer your comment real quick, we don't know yet about sub or dub options. We do know that it's a wide release. We'll talk about that in a moment. But for clarification, Janus Films or Criterion, we're just going to refer to them as one entity. They apparently have already acquired both the 1984 Return of Godzilla and Biollante a couple years back in 2021. This tweet does say when Kraken lost the rights to the film, that would refer to Return of Godzilla. Biollante was held by Miramax before. King Ghidorah and Mothra 92 were presumably acquired in 2019 when Sony lost the rights to those movies. Sony lost the rights to all the Godzilla movies besides 2000 this year. For some reason, 2000's contract expires in 2025. Sony did make a US version of that movie in addition to releasing a Japanese version. So it does kind of make sense that they would hold on to it longer. Janus Criterion did not pay to get the film early. They will wait for licensors' rights or sub-license through Sony for a Blu-ray box set. Everything's muted on your end, Kaus?
I think he left to do the phone call.
Yeah, he just posted in the chat. I don't know. Everything is muted on my end. Maybe we should check his microphone. Anyways, so the thing with the sub-licensing, they did do that before. With King Kong vs. Godzilla, Criterion did sub-license it from Universal to put it in the Showa films. So that wouldn't be out of the ordinary here. The report that everyone is sharing is not including your source, which is in somebody talked with the representative of the Music Box Theater in Chicago, which recently showed the Godzilla films. And the representative made the claim Janus has the theatrical rights to the Millennium films, which is a generalization. The Music Box showed Biollante, Destroya, GMK, and Final Wars, which is 2 Heisei, 2 Millennium, with the Janus Films logos at the beginning. It is safe to assume that Mechagodzilla 93, Space Godzilla, Megagears X, Mechagodzilla against Mechagodzilla, Tokyo SRS are still under the Janus Films umbrellas. Those are up for grabs too. Toho historically prefers to do package deals to individually licensing when it comes to films. Weird claim, because Biollante ended up at Miramax and no one else, but whatever.
Yeah.
There was also revealed that new subtitle tracks were commissioned for these films by Music Box, which is the theater, not Janus. Janus is working on their official releases. So for the first films, for the first 15 years, it took 2 years to get the films from theatrical and streaming to Blu-ray, because Criterion had them prior to the discs coming out. And it'll likely take as long, if not longer, for these films. Don't expect a release until 2025 or 2026. And then this person also mentioned, I would also expect both the Heisei and Millennium eras to be packaged together in a 13-film box set. My personal hope down the road is a 4K box set called the Original Toho Collection 54 to 2004. And then they said, and this is good news here, one more side note, I believe Shin Godzilla is going to be up for licensing soon, so it might be possible for Giannis to grab that film too. I'm not saying it'll happen, purely fan speculation. I would hope, because we need a Shin Godzilla with the Anno text. Welcome to the chat, Tom. So, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Crunchy's not going to keep the rights to that film.
Crunchy has no reason to keep the rights to that film. They're not doing live action stuff anymore. Funimation was.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll isn't. So basically, there is a report that there's a box set coming next year for like all the Heisei and Millennium films. May not be next year because we have to wait at least till 2025 for 2000 to get free. And we may also have to wait for, or be sub-licensed. I imagine Criterion would love to put it out next year, since next year is, is it the 70th next year?
Yeah, I think it's the 70th next year.
Yeah, because wait. 50, yeah. Next year's the 70th anniversary of Godzilla, I think. Psychos, you came through.
Was the previous collection released during anniversary? I forget.
I think the previous was the 65th. Someone could quote me on that. I don't remember exactly. I welcome the other films getting re-released in box sets. I hope they have the original title cards, because Sony's Blu-rays replacing title cards or slapping blank white subtitle text over the actual logos was really annoying, and they're burned in too. Ugh. I'll gladly buy all the movies again if we can get a more solid release, and Criterion has done a pretty decent job.
Especially, I think, having all these films done by different people, there's kind of inconsistency.
Oh, totally. Like, so, if you're watching them in order, which I did, you go from Kraken's 84 to Miramax's Biollante to Sony's Ghidorah, and then it's just, all Sony from there. But even Sony's releases weren't consistent. So, yeah, okay, so the Showa era set was released in 2019, so that's 65th. I would imagine that, if Criterion really wanted to push for it, they could probably get the set out in time for the 70th if they just sub-licensed 2000, Which they did sub-license King Kong for the Showa set, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. But it sounds like they haven't gotten all the rights to all the movies yet, but they're close. So I appreciate this thread, and I did check out some sources on this, especially with how things worked out, to just double check all this before I said it here. So it should be good. But yeah, we'll have to see more as time goes on, because let's talk about the thing that is coming, Godzilla Minus One. So here's the thing, guys. I do like Godzilla films. I think the original film was really great. I think it was really, the original film is one of the best films I think ever made. It's a trailblazer. It's great. I'm really tired of homaging it, though. Am I allowed to say that? I think I agreed. I agree with Matt Frank when he said this on Twitter. He said, stylistically, I'm all over this, but intellectually, I'm not quite there yet.
I'll say,
and I feel that energy a whole lot.
I'll say that I think having the film take place after a Great War, I think it makes the film already, unique enough, because most of unique enough. I feel like because what the original Gojira film was made in response to, was it the bombings right of
it was a combination of the World War II bombings that happened in Japan. Kaos is still waiting for his phone call. Poor guy. So let's see, because the original film was a relation to the World War II bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and then also because there was additional atomic bomb testing happening in the Gulf. And that's what created Godzilla, was the atomic bomb testing. So it ties in. It's always had a World War II tie-in.
Yeah. So having this film being at least, I don't think it's gonna be any specific war. I think it's just but just a war happened in this movie. But I think having that I let's view it as a homage, kind of going back to the roots of what made the original Godzilla. So
the problem I think I have with that, because I like the thing is, on paper, I like the let's go back to the original roots of Godzilla, but I feel like we have been doing that for 20 years. Ever since Final Wars, we've had the 2014 Godzilla, which even went as far as to have two different Godzillas, to have one in 54 and one in 2014. And then we had Shin Godzilla, which just kind of related to the earthquake tsunami in the way that the original related to the World War II bombings and the testing. And then now this is kind of doing it. So I kind of feel like, and Planet of the Monsters even had like a bit of a correlation to that, even though that was, I think, a bit more refreshing. I do think, though, it does seem like Japan is doing, let's reimagine Godzilla back to his roots while they let Legendary do crazy monster versus stuff, which I think is a good way to do it. It's just kind of weird that we're having like yet another, here's a new start with a different take on Godzilla based on the original movie, because it sort of feels like we're remaking the original movie a whole lot.
I view it less that, because I think them knowing who Godzilla is, like, it looks like they know Godzilla, or like this the myth of Godzilla by the looks of the trailers. So they know, like, Godzilla's been around, so they know what it is. I think it's more of a, I think it could make a good character piece of, because from what I see in the trailer, it looks like our main character is probably a soldier calling the war, because from what I could judge from the trailer, the war just finished. So Erematsu riling back from the aftermath of the war, and our main character is probably a soldier coming back from the war, probably has like PSD, probably.
That's the 2014 setup with the human cast, though.
I forgot about that.
That was the main character of the 2014 movie, was a soldier coming back from war and experiencing things through Godzilla.
Well, I think, from what I remember from 2014, I feel like the big difference is this was like right after it. Like buildings are still like destroyed and everything. This is right after, and the idea is, as the marketing, it's, the world went from 0 to -1, so it's literally like Godzilla appears right after the war's finished.
It's kind of like Godzilla's kicking them while they're down.
Yeah. So like, yeah, that's the idea. So like, I think I could see some really good character emotional stories from this. From this, I think I see a really good potential on like a very emotional core Godzilla film, and like, because I think with Godzilla films, I love Godzilla films, but I don't think I can think of one that really got me to the emotional core. Shin tried to do that, but like, I was more fascinated on the Shin Godzilla in that film than the actual like characters in that film. Where here is like, it's Godzilla is more back to the disaster route than go look at the big kaiju kind of scenario. I kind of like that. I personally like. I think I'm very curious to see it. I can definitely see the problems of the feels like the original, and I definitely
I think it's for me. I think that's what it is that, like, because you brought up stuff I didn't even notice, because I think my brain is still just stuck in, oh hey, we're doing the original premise again. I've seen that so much. Like, it's kind of like the chat mentioned the MMPR thing of like, even when it's not, if it's close enough to it, if you've seen it too much and you're tired of it, your brain doesn't want to take in anything that's new about it, right? Kind of like how Megaforce is a Mighty Morphin remake, and Ninja Steel's a Mighty Morphin remake, and that's where my brain goes with those shows. Is I'm like, they're just trying to recapture Mighty Morphin, even though those shows are different. That's just where the brain goes. And so I wonder if it's so I'm hoping this film breaks out of that, because from the initial stuff, I kind of just don't. I'm not super into it.
Yeah, I think for me is I haven't seen much Godzilla films. I think the original Gojira films are masterpiece, but like I haven't seen it forever. So when I watched the show, it's kind of fresh.
I watched that movie 4 times in a single week while I was writing this high school research paper.
Yeah,
which is also why I'm a little bit tired of the movie.
Yeah. With me, since I only seen that film like once years ago, I think this show did feel fresher, so I noticed details like that. I know a lot of details like that, and I think again, I'm hoping the film. Yeah, I think I'm hoping for the film is not just gonna be a retread. And I think the different.
If they kill him with an
scenario.
oxygen destroyer, I'm just gonna walk out of the theater.
they just chuck a nuclear bomb at him. I think I think the premise alone, I think sells the movie to me because I think there's some really good emotional story core. You can tell with this.
I do really
premise.
wish though, and this is just for me, and this may be a my minute pick. I don't know if everybody else agrees with me on this. I wish it was a suit CG hybrid Godzilla and not just a CG Godzilla.
I think sadly we're never getting that again.
And I don't get why Toho won't do it, because the thing is that I know that we got like 2 Godzilla franchises. We got Toho's, we got Legendary's, right? Legendary is doing all the CG stuff, you know? And
that's fine because they want to do
that's
stupid
great.
monster fights.
That's fine. They're doing crazy monster fights, right? Toho outside, like, I feel like that's why they keep going back to the story pool of like Godzilla at its roots, because there's nothing else to delineate that from Legendary Godzilla. You have to do it all in, Toho's Godzilla movies, he's only Godzilla, he's the only monster. Whereas Legendaries is like the versus movies kind of thing.
We got a giant monkey, and a giant butterfly, and a giant pterodactyl.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like you kind of got like early Showa Godzilla happening at Toho and late Showa Godzilla happening at Legendary. And I just kind of want something Heisei Millennium era kind of. I'd love to see a Toho Godzilla movie with, again, kind of like, we always bring Godzilla back to his roots thematically, storytelling-wise, but we don't bring him back to his roots production-wise. And I think that's my big problem, is I'm like, I wish there was some part of this that was a suit.
What was it with Shin Godzilla that Anno wanted to do a full suit?
Anno wanted a suit and Toho vetoed it.
Yeah, because I don't remember, was it...
He even built a suit.
They CG over it? But they CG over it?
They CG'd over it. Toho wanted all CG, and it's the same... Shin Ultraman was the same way. He wanted to do practical stuff for Shin Ultraman. Toho said no. And it's just... And that's... Kaiju brings something, says, from what I heard from interviews, someone who worked at Toku and Shin Films, the reason why it's CG is because it's seen as adult, while Toku is seen as something for kids. So just make it better then. Like, it's the same problem I have with, like, America and how animation is seen for kids, whereas live action is seen for adults.
Look at Kamen and Black Sun. I still can't believe the king was a practical effect.
And that was an adult show. It's all in your approach and your presentation. I don't think the audience really cares if it's CG or not CG. I think it's just the perception of it. It's all in how you produce it,
it's that classic, all practical is goofy, but CG is fancy.
Practical can be horrifying too. GMK is a beautiful movie, and they use suits with CG hybrids, and I want something like that, I want something like that. Because the thing is that, Kyle says, animation is cinema partially just so people can be validated watching cartoons. There's nothing wrong with watching cartoons. There's nothing wrong with cartoons. If you want to watch cartoons, it's a stylistic art form. It's the same thing with with everything, it's the same thing of like when people are like, oh, Avatar is so beautiful. I'm like, it's nothing I haven't seen anywhere else. It's just a different application of it. Yeah, see, the thing is, Anno wanted practical for Shin Godzilla. I know he was a bit of a set nightmare with Shin Kamen Rider. The thing is, like, he wanted to do the crazy stuff with the Shocker Riders, but had to do CG because of the safety laws. You couldn't do the Shocker Riders practical in the way he wanted to do it.
Too bad you can't see them.
But the thing is that you can... But the thing is, like, it doesn't make sense for him to be like, oh, I don't want any practical, because he did all the stuff with the spider practical. Like, him sliding down the wall was all practical. They only did CG when they couldn't do it practical, and that's what I think you should do. So it's just like Godzilla seems to continue to get farther away from its Tokusatsu roots stylistically. I like the way they shot the movie. The movie looks good shot-wise. I miss the suit, because it kind of felt like that was Toho's defining feature, and now it just feels like this is like Legendary Godzilla, except more off on its, back to Godzilla roots kind of thing.
That's squat, dick.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm still going to see this movie. It is releasing November 3rd in Japan, and then it'll make its way.
December-
US-wise, it's going to be December 1st. It is getting a wide release, not a Fathom event, so you should have options for seeing the movie, which is good.
Which is great.
Yep. Kaiju says Toei allows for more creative freedom than Toho does. Based on how the Anno movies have gone, I'd say yes. But anyways, moving on. Let's talk about some toys from Bandai. There's more ride watches. So, Revive, Vice, Gotchard, and Geeks.
Geo, it's like one of these things where it's like, I saw people talk about Geo. Like,
I know we just like hard cut from Godzilla and me kind of like analyzing stuff to, hey, toys.
Yeah, but I was like, why are we seeing Geeks over the Zeo? Oh wait, Zeo's 5 years old. Oh god. Because I was like, what was the rumors for Gotchard? Like Geo was gonna come back or Deco's like, and then we realized, oh wait, Geo's like, yeah, Gotchard's like an anniversary season technically. I think
it kind of is.
I think.
Real quick, Andreas, Toho doesn't even have the big water tank for Godzilla suits after Final Wars. Yeah, that's fine. You can just do the Godzilla going into the water CG now. You don't have to do that in a water tank. And as soon as they paved over that water tank, it was over. You know, like they never wanted to go back to it. Because sorry to backtrack to the Godzilla thing. When they did like the Godzilla versus Hetero, the Godzilla versus Gigan shorts, they borrowed Tsuburaya's city set because they don't have their own. Anyways, Zeo, if you're wanting to ride watches and you don't have the belt, they are reissuing the belt, and they're putting out a CSM-style high-spec belt for it, so don't expect a CSM Geo anytime at all.
At least in another 10 years.
Yeah. So we'll see if this leads to Geo popping up in Gotchard at all. Okay. You ever wanted to turn into a Disney-themed Kamen Rider? Now you can! We talked about this when it was first revealed, and I kind of want it, guys. I kind of want this.
I love, I don't know, something is like makes me laugh hearing like in the henshin belt way Mickey Mouse.
Yep.
That makes me laugh.
So for context, this is the Disney Imagination belt. It looks like the Disney Vault, my nemesis, so that's always fun. You turn a key and it opens it up to a 2.8-inch LCD screen. I'm not spending 365, that's why I haven't pre-ordered it. It has animations inside. There's a video you can see. It's not region locked. And it's really funny because it's the same tech they use in the Complete Selection Animation Digivices. Mm-hmm. But the fun part is it has this little thing up top. Speaking of practical, there's a practical effect of a film reel going across the top, which I think is really, really cool.
Which I love.
Look at that. It's really cool when you see it in motion. It lights up different colors. It is a CSM-style belt. There are 10 keys in total. You get, or I think it's 10 keys, or 11.
Yeah,
anyways.
It was Mickey, Minnie.
There's Mickey, Iron Man, Minnie Mouse, Simba, one of them's, which one's
Moana, Elsa,
Moana, Elsa, Tiana, Grogu, and Woody. Woody's that's the sheriff. Duh. The sheriff in the hat is Woody.
It's Woody.
Yeah. Snow White, and then Snow White's the other one. Yeah, so you get 10 keys, which activate different forms. They only have previews up of the Mickey Mouse one. I kind of want it. It's 39,600 yen.
When you put the Iron Man key, it just plays the Marvel Discourse animation.
That'd be funny. Smith the Crow says I can do without the Marvel and Star Wars stuff. I could too, because I think that's what's holding this up from getting distributed anywhere else.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like one of these things. I mean, I think it would be less weird if they were there, plus what a Captain Jack Sparrow key. I think that would balance it out, at least.
Yeah, like it's weird there's no Disney live action rep at all. And yeah, they went with Iron Man and Grogu. It's funny because this is how the Disney parks are sometimes. Like, you'll just be like walking through Tomorrowland, and you're like, Disney, and then it's like, oh, Star Wars.
Kaus, you're back.
Kaus.
Yeah, never got that call. It might happen. I might just leave again, but it looks like I got ghosted.
Huh.
Woo!
That sucks.
Hey.
I love it. Yay.
I hate when
Sucks.
companies
I saw you
ghost
talking
people.
about Godzilla Minus, and I wanted to...
Yeah, chime in on Godzilla. I'll put the
Well-
screen cap back up.
Well, let me see what were you saying about it? Like it
We were talking. I was talking. Well, Ryan was talking about like the new things they're doing, and I was talking about how it just really feels like the original movie again. And I wish there was a
just
suit.
looking at that screen cap, it
Yeah.
looks like they are trying to go like, hey, remember Godzilla's supposed to be a horrifying threat.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing again.
that's kind of it does feel like that. This is also why I'm kind of a little tired.
When does it come out?
December 1st.
Okay. Well, hopefully I get to see it. I actually want to see it.
I'm definitely gonna go see it. Like even if I'm bitching about it now, I'm still gonna go see it. All right, cool. And then yeah, Disney Belt. I think Kingdom Hearts. If Kingdom Hearts added Marvel and Star Wars in the next game, it would just break things. Just stylistically, it doesn't work.
It's kind of funny that I saw there's a video out there going over bad Star Wars merchandise, and one of the big segments was Grogu, and I think seeing Grogu here and not a Darth Vader key kind of really emphasized that Grogu is just the merch machine.
Grogu is a merch machine for sure. Andrea says, "Here's an idea: Kamen Rider D Vault with that Disney belt comes with every Disney live-action universe and destroys them decade style." I'd watch it. Okay. I'm cutting some toy news for time because I do want to complain about Star Wars, and I had nothing interesting to say about some of this. But I do want to bring up the new deluxe full-action Kyoryugen. Because Kyoryugen is going to appear in King Oger, and they're releasing a brand new deluxe toy. He got joints, guys. He got joints.
Is it combined, though? Is it just one solid?
It is a combining, but it's not exactly
the same as the original.
I don't like this. I want it, but there's some things I don't like about this. First of all, it is 13,200 yen.
It's like $120 or something like that?
Yeah, it's expensive.
That's a lot. How big is it?
It should. I don't know exactly the size. I think we'll see how big it's going to be compared to the original. The original was pretty big. This seems... guys, remind me in the chat, because King Oger keeps going on sale. Was King Oger around that price, or is this more? I do know the original Deluxe Kyoryugen with its electronic features was 7,800 yen 10 years ago, so that just shows you where pricing's gone. But there is some concessions made. So in order to add the articulation, they removed some features. So first of all, no more Judenshi slots.
Which I'm fine with, because honestly, the further away Sentai Mecha can get away from having the gimmicks forced into the mechs, the better.
King Oger was like 8,300 yen. Yeah, why is this so much?
Wait, why? Yeah, why is it more?
I would say it's Kyoryuger tax. So you don't have the Judenshi gimmick. That's fine. I don't really care. Doesn't do a big deal for me. It can't combine with any of the older mecha. That's fine.
Well, because it's probably using better clips, hopefully.
Hopefully using better clips. I hope this thing is more stable. The problems I have with it is the helmet is not removable. You just turn the head. So that way, so if you notice the part in the T-Rex here has the head here. That isn't accurate. I think overall proportion, it looks a little bit more accurate to the show, but then you have the helmet sticking up here. That helmet usually was stashed away in the tail.
Reminds me of, if you remember the Bandai Mix and Morph figures where they did those Rangers
I remember
combinations.
I have, yes.
Even then, I say that, but even that the helmet was the dilator makes their head was stored in the head of the T-Rex head, so it's even better than this.
How is it? I mean, okay, so it's more than the actual mech.
Yeah,
the main mech of the show, but it has less features. Like
it's only 3 components. So going back to that, I don't like the helmet being there in T-Rex mode. Even Bandai of America figured out how to move that.
But
yeah,
it's the price point.
It's the price point. So the thing is, if this was like 7,500 yen, 8,000 yen, I would not be complaining about these things. But because it's 13,200 yen, I'm going to complain about things. The thing I think with and this is a retail item too. This isn't P Bandai either. You think it would be, but it's not. The legs on Stagochi and Dracera don't move. They are
They're
molded.
brick.
So that means in their
Oh, wow.
individual modes, the line is lined up when it shouldn't be. And then in the combined mode, the little legs are sticking
Yeah,
out.
just legs. Yeah, he had little legs stick out from his arms.
Feels cheap,
Yeah.
and I shouldn't say cheap for something $100 plus.
Even the Bandai
If
America
it-
version had the moving legs.
Like it feels like
Golly.
it's so weird because a lot of the stuff I don't think they maybe they sacrifice for articulation or sacrifice for engineering. No, because I feel like you can still do this with the articulation or anything like that. Check the helmet. Like it's like King Odra technically has it's more of a head mask,
Yeah.
but still like you can take off the head. Why couldn't you not take off the head for Kyoryujin?
Yeah, exactly. Someone look me up King Caucasus price, please, in the chat.
All right.
If you
Ryder?
want to do it, you can do it too. Someone look me up King Caucasus price, because Small Dream mentioned it's on sale for 8,000 yen. I know, so I keep trying to look at buying one.
On Amazon Japan or
No, I want the original retail price, because Amazon Japan's been discounting it. So you got that. Then you have the panels on the legs are permanently down. They don't have the little foldy panels, so you have the black part is visible on both. Again, I'm nitpicking.
Again, that's something like why could that doesn't seem like an
I'm sorry,
cost
someone. I
issue.
keep calling you out, and I just mean general people.
King Caucasus seems to be like $100, just flat.
Yeah, I want the yen
About-
price. What's the yen price on it?
I
I mean, it does look good when it's posed like this. Oh, and the sword doesn't flap open to be the full sword or the shield. It's just the sword. Just like the Bandai America toy couldn't fold open.
But even then, that at least makes sort of sense because budget restraints for that.
That thing was like $35. You can also give it, for whatever reason, and this will probably happen in the show, you can take Hachi, Papillon, Tanbo, and Kamakiri Ogre's mechs, and then like pop them on so that you can have the sword and then the feet are different. That's fine.
in yen, it's like 8,800 yen, 11,000 originally.
11,000. So it was 11,000 for King Caucasus Kabuto, and this is 13,200. Is it the paint?
Does it look better painted?
Question.
It doesn't look better painted than King Oger.
Yeah,
the same amount.
I'm not seeing the price here. And here's the thing. Usually when we have price discussions or feature things, a lot of times it comes down to, like, the Western fans complain about the price more because of the importing. I saw Wotafa, who's, like, one of the most upbeat, positive reviewers and never really talks about price problems. He made a tweet about this. And he's like, how are we losing this many features and it's, like, twice the price?
Like,
Real.
Yeah, Nerd
like,
Channel
it's so-
says we should be getting all the main swords, maybe some of the ones too. A 5-pack would have been better, yeah.
what's weird is it's smaller. It has more posability. So
I'm
it's
glad I came back during this part.
Yeah.
So it is. Like I think like it is a better toy because it probably will self-destruct on you like the original toy.
Yeah,
But, like,
I think it's a better toy. It's just
right,
that it's kind of like me and the Cosmic Fury Megazord. I think this, okay, this is lacking features of a previous version, but it honestly doesn't look that bad. But why is it that much?
Yeah, it's like as a toy itself, it's fine. And a hot take, switching here on this hot take, but the Cosmic Fury Megazord does everything that Kyoryujin did, besides size and sound, so it's definitely better. But
this is like the same thing, right? It
Yeah,
looks
it's the
great.
same-
It's just, why is it so much?
And yeah, that's the thing. If you're gonna complain about this thing is for the fan. If you're gonna complain about the Cosmic Fury Megazord, you should complain about this. But no, it's banned in Japan, so it's automatically better. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Someone,
it
we're
was-
not going to talk about Figure Arts news this week because I don't think there was any.
I think like stuff like the flaps not able to fold up like that. Does that really cost more to like just have additional panels fold out?
Right?
It's such.
The helmet thing is bugging me the most. The helmet, the legs, the lack of the shield mode on the sword. Like it has lost a feature with that sword thing. And it's just so expensive. I want it, but it's just
Like, because I like the idea of like remaking Megazords, or sorry, Mecha, remaking Mecha.
I like
in
remaking
this-
Megazords as full action. I agree.
Yeah, I like this idea.
As
and
long as they're
the
not
same-
going to be this expensive each time.
Yeah, I think this is really the big problem with this and Zap is I think the prices are just not right. But then again, I've been thinking about this past couple of days that
Mhm.
like I think sadly in this economy, I don't think we can really make multi-combiner in a box set like this without costing arm and a leg
I
nowadays.
think that's
was
where
really
we're
just
at. Is like mecha are just, and I've been having this discussion with a lot of people lately. Because I love Sentai mecha, as you guys know. I mean, I talked about it all over my Power Rangers video. I love mecha and Megazords. I have not bought any in forever because the price just does not feel justified for what they are.
yeah, because I
Exactly.
was thinking about this with the Cosmic Fury Megazord
Yeah.
because the Cosmic Fury Megazord is technically two sets combined into one because it's the Red Lion and then the our limbs in two sets released at retail. Then the Amazon is the box set like they always do. And I was thinking because I think back to the Dino Fury Megazords. I had Dino Fury Megazords, and I think those work
Real quick,
the
good luck
release.
with Hasbro customer service, Fire Fury. I hope you get
Yeah,
good
good
solution.
luck. But like
Yeah.
the Ryu Soul mech are perfectly fine, and even the Go Buster mechs, that was
Mhm.
screwed up. Whatever, they were totally fine to release on their own because they're very unique. They're just single transforming robot mecha men, like your usual Transformer, for example. You can easily do that,
Yeah.
but I don't. I was thinking about it because I think back to that that retail Dino Megazord they did during 2020. Hasbro
Mhm.
did, and that was only released in retail in separate packs. Because I was thinking about with the Cosmic Fury Megazord is, I think in terms if you want to make the Megazord slash Mecha the best it can be in terms of what restrictions and budget and all that stuff, you had to separate them like that because I don't think we can get single pack Megazords
Yeah.
anymore with this economy.
Not unless you're
Because
advertising it as a fancy box set, right?
yeah,
That's
because thinking about because back when with Bandai America, like they strip a lot of features, but you still get everything you need for $30. That's what was impressive.
Mhm.
They did that for all of the 2011 to 2018, but like I was thinking about it, it's like yeah, I don't think realistically, I don't think you can make a Megazord $30 anymore,
Yeah.
and at least the combining kind. You can make something like
Like the
the
T-Rex
Ryu Soul.
Champion Sword was like
You
30,
can do that.
35.
You can do that for 30 because that's just one mech.
Yeah.
But a 5-limb combiner. No, I think that I think the
And so
Cosmic
now
Fury
we're seeing it on two
Megazord.
fronts, right? It's not just Hasbro at the
Yeah,
U.S. market, but look at the Japanese market. Like this,
think of Don Oitanjin. That was like 100 plus because
8,000
you
yen.
just yeah, like
And he's
Santa
like
Mecha.
14 inches tall. I don't even like Don Brothers that much. I have not even gone to watch the show, but I still kind of want to Don
Oh
Itachi.
no,
Yeah,
what are you
but
typing
like
in school?
yeah, I was thinking about like because Kira Major that mech was tiny,
Yep.
tiny. So and that was a
That's where my
piece.
breaking point is. I didn't want to buy. I love Kira Major, but I went and bought the mini plot because I was like, for this price, I can't justify it. It's too small. It
And that
doesn't do
mech,
enough.
that mech was tiny for 5-piece Megazord. Even then, it was one was
Yeah.
a sword and one was a chest piece. Then Zenkaiger was different because it was the symmetrical docking. So that was more traditional Sentai mecha. But even then, that was two
Mm.
mechs, minus one. Then moving onwards is with King Oger's price is not even that bad.
It's not that
It's
bad, honestly. I think King
yeah,
Oger
but
in general is fine. This is just jumping it too much.
but here's the thing: think of King Oger. They're made out of smaller
That's
mechs.
true. Yeah, King Oger is kind of small. I mean, they did the thing of like they did with I don't know. There's which I can't remember which line I'm thinking in my brain. They did the thing where the main mecha is smaller because they build it up to a big thing. Zyuohger did that, where like the main mecha was tiny, but then you got a big thing at the end. And they do that every once in a while,
Where
but still, that's like still several $100s. That's not that big.
yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Is like with King Oger, they were probably able to
Mm,
do it's a 10-piece mech, yes, but it's made out of small. Again, God Ant or the Ladybug, the
yeah,
Spider. They're tiny mechs. And again, if you like, I think the cost of inflation in general, because they're not in the U.S. but in Japan, this inflation thing really got to the point where I don't think we can get back that like $60 era of mecha and Megazords anymore.
yeah. I think at this point,
The economy
Bandai
changed.
Bandai
The
adding
economy changed so
articulation is
much.
like adding articulation is not enough to justify these prices.
Yeah, the economy changed so much that
Yeah.
like Yeah, it's just, I just been thinking about that for a while since the whole Cosmic Fury Megazord shenanigans.
So real quick to wrap this up, there also is a Red Gabri caliber that Kyoryu Red is going to be using in the show to transform into his new form. And it does come with a proper Judenshi that's got like a soul in it. It looks cool, and they don't show that it transforms and combines with the Gabu revolver because they're not re-releasing that right now. Wouldn't be surprised if that happens though. But there it is. There's the new thing. So, yeah, Small Dream says, I think Kyoryugen's here suffering from nostalgia tax. Definitely. I mean, look at the box. The box is a frickin' Kyoryuger box. The King Oger part is not even present. They put the Kyoryugers on the top, you know?
It's funny, because I think only King,
yeah.
I think Daigo's only confirmed to return, I think, right?
Daigo's the only one confirmed to return, as far as I know, and we'll see how it goes. Now, as I did see someone mention in the chat, I'm setting up the next story real quick because we have one more story and it's all related to the same exact things we're talking about. So talking about the Cosmic Fury trailer, I'm not going to talk about it because A, it's poorly edited, and B, I just want to.
It's not a trailer.
I just want to see the show. I just want to see the show at this point. We'll see. There should be a Memorial Gab revolver shown at the Narakiri World event next month. Okay.
All right, do you want to complain about Hasbro?
So, when we're talking about prices and budgets and articulation, how can I not talk about what has been happening with Star Wars Black Series that people I don't even think realize is happening? So for those, to provide context, when Star Wars Black Series started, the standard for the figures was single-jointed elbows, double-jointed knees. A few years ago, they switched to having single-jointed knees in addition to single-jointed elbows. Now, there is actually something worse happening, and I think it's starting to break Black Series in a way that is gonna wreck this.
If you have seen Soundout12's video on the Indie Wave 2,
yes. If you go watch my Indie Wave 2 video, Helena Shaw does not feature thigh swivels, and it makes her the most unstable figure I've probably ever owned from Hasbro, to be honest. I cannot get her to balance except in the most awkward of poses because I can't adjust the weight on her legs. So, I mentioned in that video that the upcoming Sabine Wren and Hera Syndulla from Ahsoka do not have thigh swivels either. However, upon the new reveals that happened last week, I started to notice this has been going on for a little bit of a while. We just haven't gotten them in hand yet. So first things first, this HK-87 Assassin's Droid does not feature thigh swivels from what I can tell. Flipping through the images, doesn't have it. Now stylistically, that might be hard to engineer. Understandable. It just seems like, part of the design. But then you go over to a character like Maruk. Maruk is dressed in an Inquisitor-like style. We don't exactly know what his deal is. But you may notice there is no cuts in the thighs on this figure. This is a force-wielding, sword-wielding character with no thigh swivels, which means getting him to balance in a warrior-like pose is going to be very difficult. And so what's a bummer is that we're starting to see this, that, he should have thigh swivels. Why doesn't he? This is a $25 action figure, okay? Don't worry, I have a theory on why this is happening, and we'll get to it. Other characters like Professor Hu Yang or Morgan Elsbeth, it's hard to tell because they have things covering their hips. But taking a look at Morgan Elsbeth here, who I will come back to later with another point, you see the shot here, she does have thigh swivels. But she is reusing the legs that Asajj Ventress used. So here we go. That's a case of reuse. Going forward, Ezra Bridger, the Lothal version here, he does have thigh swivels, which makes sense as a sword-wielding character, but I do believe those thighs have been reused from his Rebels version. So, there's that. Now, if we look at characters like Sabine Wren, like I mentioned in the indie video, you can see that she has no thigh swivel, and you can also see that there is very awkward posing happening with her in these promotional images to cover for it. And so the thing is that we've gone from double joints, single joint knees, to now no thigh swivels on figures that are costing $25 or more. This is, I think, a massive problem. The Ahsoka Tano was actually the first one to have this happen. This is the Ahsoka re-release here, but this is actually a reuse of the Mandalorian Ahsoka, who also didn't have thigh swivels. Now, that could be argued since she has Dragon Ball Z pants. Maybe that's a stylistic choice that makes sense for Ahsoka. Well, I happen to look at another toy line. The Star Wars Vintage Collection, the 3 3/4 inch figure. Same design, thigh swivels on the pants. So she can have thigh swivels, but why does she not have it on the actual figure? Are they under the pants on her? Because it doesn't show it in any of the photos. Like, any of the photos here doesn't show her legs. Someone mentioned that she does have thigh swivels. They're hidden. Are they hidden thigh swivels? Because I'll get off of her. Okay, so they're hidden on her. All right. Let's go back to an example of... Let me go back to the solid things then. Hera Syndulla. Clearly, no thigh swivels whatsoever. Like, those are solid hips. Which means, again, I worry about the stability because Hera got some thighs, okay? She got some weight there. So, yeah, R2-D2, no thigh swivels, but that's fine because he doesn't need them. Pre-Vizsla has thigh swivels, uses parts. There's Rebel Trooper, he's a new mold, but he has thigh swivels. But if we go back a couple, how about Darth Malgus? Looks like he has no thigh swivels. And yes, I did bring receipts on this, guys. This has no thigh swivels in this promotional images. Are you wondering, is that the case in the final product? Absolutely. Here is an in-hand shot of Darth Malgus. Once again, no thigh swivels. And this doesn't look like the case of a hidden thigh swivel, like Ahsoka may have it. Some of the McFarlane DC stuff even have thigh swivels, even though they don't have cuts for them. This doesn't look to have a thigh swivel because that knee looks perpendicular to the hip.
Yeah, here's the thing. All DC multiverse figures do have thigh swivel. Just the only thing that stops it is clearance.
Right.
If they have clearance for them. Because a lot of times they have a butt sculpt that hinders the twist. Is usually why they don't have full thigh swivel.
A character like this looks like he could have that almost no clearance thigh adjustment, but it doesn't seem to be the case. We will look at some more figures in a moment. So I started going back, and I was trying to figure out how far back have we had no thigh swivels. We don't count Wicket because he's an Ewok. And then we don't count anybody that reused parts. And then I noticed Mr. $34 Black Chrysanthemum also is featuring what looks like no thigh swivel. Now, I could say that there's a possibility he has it because of the fur covering around his waist. There could be a hidden thigh swivel in there. But the thing I'm noticing is that we are starting to see more and more figures for Black Series not have thigh swivels. It went from not so obvious to really obvious, to the point where their Starkiller that they're selling in a $150 box set for PulseCon. As I zoom into his hips here, there is no cut. And you can see the perpendicular angles in his knees.
A character that's well enough for doing crazy action like
Yes.
a video game he's from.
He also doesn't seem to have any torso articulation, but we'll figure that out later, and his elbows are probably restricted. It does look like he could have something hidden in there, but it doesn't look like it because the knee isn't turned in any way, and you know how Hasbro photography is. They thought this pose was okay.
Tough little man strikes again.
So, going back to the presentation, because they had a Ahsoka themed presentation, I started to notice some things, particularly when it came down to the figure. First of all, so here's the Ahsoka, which we've seen. There's the Sabine's out of focus, the Hera, we've seen all those. It's when they start showing figures, like the Professor here, he's a droid. He looks great, no big deal. Where's the part that I'm actually trying to get to here? Let's look at Morgan Elsbeth here. I'm going to make a farther point. Morgan Elsbeth has a plastic skirt. And as you can see from the demonstration here, they made sure it is a soft plastic so that it can move out of the way of her legs, right? Now, you may notice something about this $25 action figure Hasbro is selling. She has 0 accessories. She comes with nothing.
Or how much
Not
again?
even hands?
Not even hands.
Golly.
She is supposed to be a
Yeah,
Dathomirian Night Sister witch. No magic effects. No hands. No weapons. She doesn't even come with the spear that she fought Ahsoka with in Mandalorian.
For how much again?
$25.
$25.
In that same notion, the retro collection of the Kenner style figures is also doing a Morgan Elsbeth with no accessories either. And that is spitting directly in the face of the legacy of Kenner because Kenner would have invented an accessory to give her.
I'll give her, like, you couldn't include like a stupid like missile launching gun.
Nothing. She's got nothing with the retro, nothing with the Black Series. And then we get to the Vintage Collection, where she also comes with nothing. However, she has a cloth skirt that is more detailed and better looking and has better color contrast than the plastic skirt. So I'm over here like, hey, I like collecting Black Series, but I would like this figure. Why are these not the same figure? Why does she get cloth and the Black Series doesn't? Also, here's another thing to this point. Black Series has done cloth skirts before because her leg reuse comes from a Sage Ventress that had a cloth skirt. What is going on with this Black Series line at this point?
Is Lucasfilm not getting Hasbro?
I'm gonna add to this as well. The HK87 droid we looked at earlier, he had a plastic cape on Black Series, cloth cape on Vintage. And then, to top it all off, the Vintage Collection Hera has thigh swivels. It's not a stylistic choice, it's a deliberate choice. Before we get into theories, I also want to point out that the Vintage Collection got 5 slides of pipeline reveals, and the Black Series got this hammerhead alien dude's name spelled wrong, and another re-release of R5 before the first release came out, now coming with pit droids. So, going back, the Vintage Collection Sabine comes with her spray paint canister, a loth cat, and a bag. But she is a $28 Vintage Collection figure. Let's go compare. I'm just going to do this real quick. Here's the thing. Sabine is a $28 Deluxe Vintage Collection. They said due to the paint. She comes with a bunch of extra accessories to make it worth it, because she's got the loth cat, she's got the lightsaber, she's got the spray paint, she can actually hang the lightsaber on her belt. Terrific. The $25 Black Series figure has less paint, no thigh swivels, and just comes with 2 blasters, a helmet, and a lightsaber, and no way to clip the lightsaber to her belt. So, as people have talked about, Vintage Collection was neglected for a long time, and they were pumping up Black Series. Now we've got the opposite. It really does seem like everything is better in Vintage Collection land, and I certainly wonder, why the hell are they still making Black Series? And you know what the source of all this problem is? Everybody ready to say it with me? Disney and Lucasfilm. Because their licensing fee apparently is so damn high that they have to start cutting thigh swivels out of figures that cost $25 just to make the budget work and turn a profit.
How, like, did they increase the price? What's going on? Because, like, it's getting, like, stupid now.
It's getting and so the thing is that for months I have been saying that Lightning Collection has gotten really bad, but Black Series is still Hasbro's worst line, and people have fought me on it, and I said, no, just watch. In 6 months, it's going to be worse than it already is.
Here we
are.
Lightning Collection, at the end of the day, are fine figures. There's just a lot of issues with them.
Mm-hmm.
Black Series at this point, no, they're not good figures. Like, you know,
I can't justify... I want the Ahsoka characters, but I can't justify ordering them. I'm still getting my Chrysanthemum because I've wanted that for years, but I don't know. I'm kind of annoyed. Also, because the Vintage Collection Chrysanthemum comes with more... the Vintage Collection Chrysanthemum comes with more accessories than the Black Series. The Black Series is just his gun. The Vintage Collection comes with, like, punch effects and stuff.
I question, like what? I'm not sure it's happened to too many brands right now, but like I had never seen a toy company had to cut this much back. Every other toy company has a collector's like line like this.
Mm-hmm.
Never that I seen do this, where they take away articulation points.
It's the only one that I've seen it happen.
Bandai America.
Real quick, for what I mean
Mattel.
about Chrysanthemum, the Vintage Collection comes with 4 extra hands, a rifle, a Meluron fruit, 2 spike effects for the charging of his knuckles, and a mug. And he's $28, which is normal Vintage Collection 17, he's 28. But then, normal Black Series is 25, he's 34, and he comes with gun. And that's it. He just comes with gun. And you also buy a $40 vintage collection chrysanthemum that was a convention exclusive that gives you even more stuff. So, anyways,
Hello, JoJo Star. Disney sounds mortal enemy.
at this point, I'm fighting them pretty hard because this is getting ridiculous. And the thing is, we do know it is a Lucasfilm Disney issue because we have heard from over time that like Disney Lucasfilm decides what characters get released. They kind of really control a lot of stuff. I know
the reason why. Like you look at Lego Star Wars, and those prices are nightmare-inducing compared to any other Lego theme. like a small set that's like usually would be $10. It's like 15 something bucks. It's like, wow.
And that's the thing that is crazy and it's not Disney in general either, because Marvel is not getting hit like this. Okay, Marvel has gotten hit. Some of the prices got weird last year, but they really this year they nailed it down. They fixed it so much.
This year it's surprisingly decent. Like even though I will complain about the carded Spider-Man wave, like with some figures being $25 and only comes with 2 hands. I'm much like I know that a lot of that wave has some very brand new molds they can never reuse, so at least I can understand it a little bit. But like,
Smith the Crow, they bought Indiana Jones when they bought Star Wars. The Lucasfilm came as a package deal. Zeltrax, if you're going to get a Sabine, I'd say just get the vintage one. It's going to be $3 more, but you get a Loth Cat, you get more articulation, and you get more accessories.
Like it's ridiculous, and I thought and I heard like horror stories of the Dungeons and Dragons figures, so like I thought it could get worse.
The thing is, the Dungeons and Dragons figures have no excuse. Hasbro owns those. But at least they gave them accessories. And the thing is too is going to the accessory front. Going to the accessory front stuff. We're also talking like it's a Lucasfilm problem. But, like, every Indiana Jones figure comes with, like, 2 or 3 accessories plus an artifact piece. And yet, over at Star Wars, you can't even give Morgan Elsbeth a staff that you already have the mold of. It's getting very, very bad. And I just don't know what the future is for Star Wars Black Series, you know? Like, I got nothing, you know? Like I got nothing on how does this sustain? If your basic figures, your basic $25 6-inch figures cannot afford to have thigh swivels, why are you still making them? That's where I'm at, you know? I have no other way to say it, to be honest. Smith the Crow, yeah, I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, I have no idea. I got nothing at this point. I just thought that I wanted to share this. I wanted to point it out. I wanted to let everybody know. I think Black Series is going downhill fast.
It's been going downhill for a while now, but I think this is the nail in the coffin kind of thing.
I mean, look, this guy turns into a weird space car, and yet he has a thigh swivel. It seems like a minor thing, but it's just an indicator of things to come. If they're willing to cut thigh swivels, they're willing to do anything. I mean, it's already been rough this year with the lack of character variety and the lack of accessories and the price hikes and the exclusives being more expensive and there's more exclusives of things that shouldn't be exclusive. And now on top of that, you're taking the thigh swivels away. It's that scene in Elf where they're taking the children's books back because the nun can't pay for them. Like, that's where we're at right now. Like, if you can't squeeze enough money to make a thigh swivel cut out of a figure, then why are we even bothering? You know, why are we even bothering at this point? Like, I just feel like we're at that point. Yeah, here's the thing. In 2013, the Bob Chapek secured a deal with Hasbro where the company paid Disney $80 million in royalties to extend the license for Marvel toys, and $225 million for the rights in forthcoming Star Wars merchandise. In 2013, The Star Wars license was $225 million, and the Marvel license was $80 million. That's the money that Hasbro has to pay to Disney to make these toys. And I'm sorry if this is like offensive to anybody, but I'm going to say it. Star Wars ain't anything anymore. Like, Marvel has had a decline recently, but like nothing has fallen off as bad as Star Wars. And they just re-upped the contract. Okay, so like in 2013, if Star Wars was $225 million, Star Wars should be reducing its licensing cost every year from 2019 since Rise of Skywalker came out, because they can't even put out Star Wars can't even get its stuff together to put out a movie.
Yeah, see, we haven't. Was there ever word of when the next movie is?
No,
was that?
They've announced 12 movies since Rise of Skywalker, and only 3 of them are in active development. Sorry, there's dirt on my screen. Like, the TV shows are great, but like if I was Hasbro, I would start hardballing Disney over this, because I don't think it's worth keeping Star Wars if you're gonna have to keep keep upping the prices, but yet still reduce the quality of the figures. Because in 2013 you signed a deal for $225 million. And again, the difference between Marvel at $80 million and $225 million for Star Wars, when I can guarantee you Marvel Legends outsells Black Series 5-1.
Well, I mean, yeah, because Marvel. I think the Marvel sells better in terms of the brand, but also like, I just think the figures. I think they're like, for them, like, when
the heavy body reuse is definitely helpful for Marvel Legends for sure.
I think with Lightning, it was like with Lightning Collection. The reason why that shelf started the shelf was I just think the figures. I think the word spread out about the quality of the figures
in the QC,
and like even like good figures like Blue Centurion is being shelf warm because people just don't want to take the risk and buy.
Yeah, and just like Fire Fury mentioned, he just bought one and then missing a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a straightforward Jason. We do get some Legends characters, but it's really situational because Disney and Lucasfilm control the character rosters. But yeah, it's the thing is, I look at this like I love Star Wars, I really do, but I cannot justify continuing to collect Black Series at this point. There's like nothing left for me, at this point, because I still want to buy Lightning Collection, but I'm at the point where I'm gonna say I don't want to buy Black Series anymore. I'm kind of tempted to go into Vintage Collection again.
Well, I think if it isn't for Transformers, I don't think I'll have. I think I have not bought a single Hasbro product. Like, the only recent non-Transformer product I bought was the Blazing Dimensional Zord, just to complete the Dino Fury Megazord, and that's it. But like, I haven't bought a Marvel Legend. No, the only Marvel Legend I bought was $20.99 in Spot because of Spider-Verse hype, and I think those figures are good. But still, like, I just think I buying from every other company because I think this Hasbro. Yeah, I'm very. When is PulseCon again?
PulseCon's at the end of the month, but we have. Is Transformers stream tomorrow? I thought it was a Marvel stream tomorrow.
It's a Marvel stream tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? Or is it? I thought it was Thursday.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Like
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's just I don't know. I'm tired of Hasbro's especially more like Bandai or McFarlane or NECA. I'm getting or even Playmates. I just think I have just more joy.
You don't mention the word Playmates in this house. We love Star Trek too much to be talking about Playmates in any positive light right now.
At least Team T is better. But even then, like, oh no,
it's Marvel on Thursday, September 8th.
Oh, Thursday.
Was that Thursday or that Friday?
And like,
Friday.
I pick up recently the Anime Hero Zoro figure, and like I was like really impressed with the figure's quality and the paint and the accessories like that. Meanwhile, I look at for only $19.99. Yeah, if you don't know, people, Bandai's figures are still $19.99. Surprisingly,
some of the McFarlane figures are still $19.99, which is just black magic at this point.
I think what's weird is I think they're gonna do 22. They're gonna
JoJo Star. The next time we're gonna get Power Rangers announcements is gonna be PulseCon at the end of the month, and I wouldn't expect anything else beyond that.
I knew Frank McFarlane was gonna price hike to $22.99, but then I think they went back Because I think every figure, like, there was some figures that
They-
was
some
$22.99,
some went
but
to
then
$21.99, some went to $22.99, and then everything's been 19.99 cents.
it's
Except for the
weird. I
weird
think,
collector series figures that are 30 for whatever reason, for paint and
yeah,
stuff.
but like, as much as I know people are questioning why those are dirty, at least they're not
I
trying.
can, I
At
can
least
ju- I
those,
had a whole segment about justifying prices, but I kind of felt like it wasn't in the spirit of today.
yeah. But like, I don't know, I can justify those McFarlane figures because
Yeah.
at least they're heavily detailed and painted and all that stuff. But yeah,
Speaking of how Hasbro Marvel is different than Star Wars, I do want to bring this up. They are putting out a Bruce Banner that's mostly just a new head, a Thor that's a new head, a Black Widow new head Cap, new head Iron Man, new head Spider-Man, new head War Machine, and then an Iron Man Mark II that's mostly a repaint. All of these
I
are
see.
$24.99 despite having new paint and new accessories, and they're packaged in the boxes that make them look like they're the anniversary line where they would cost $27.99. And I think they realize, well, people know that these are mostly just reissues, so
I still kind of
why do we
mad that
just not
despite
price them the same price? And
I
honestly,
assume I
yeah.
assume mad they refuse to paint the web lines in the Spidey figure.
Yeah,
Oh, by the way,
it's
they
a
started
budget
selling
thing.
Super Set.
It's a
Oh yeah,
budget
they
thing.
started
They won't
selling.
paint their web lines, yeah.
Oh yeah, they started selling Super 7 figures now.
For
on
some, yeah,
Hasbro
so
Pulse.
the purple Rita popped up on Pulse now, in case you want to get it from there instead of Super 7. We still haven't gotten a new Agent Coulson since that Toys R Us 3-pack all those years ago. It makes me mad.
Kyle, wasn't Civil War Spidey a new mold since they couldn't license Civil War Spidey for whatever reason? No, it's the same mold.
It's
Refurbishment.
the same. It's the Homecoming mold. It's not the Civil War mold because the Civil War mold was based on the concept art.
Oh yeah, so technically,
yeah.
yeah. What's the point of re-releasing that figure? That's
At the
technically
time,
inaccurate.
the deal back then, they couldn't release a Civil War Spider-Man separately at the time because Marvel and Sony were kind of in the, they were sort of they were holding hands. They hadn't quite kissed yet. They were just kind of holding hands. Had feelings for each other. We're kind of making it happen. They hadn't quite gone for it yet. So
remember the
now they're kind of like buddies. So
remember that breakup they had for like a femtosecond.
Exactly. And then after the breakup, they came back and they're, no, we actually do love each other. And then the rights opened up for all this. This Rita here. Also, if you might notice that before the breakup, we hardly got any Spider-Man related Marvel Legends from the movies. And then after the breakup, we started getting them. Deals were made. This here, the Rita Repulsive Violet is based on the original toy packaging art for Rita, where she was purple.
It was the blue shirt Bart of Power Ranger merch.
I totally kind of want this. I just don't know if I have the money. I just think it's really cool that they actually made a purple Rita.
No, it has one of these filler figures. They'll just do remaster Rita in purple.
See, the thing is, if I buy the Super 7 one, then I have the two different Ritas, but I have the one in the toy licensing purple art.
Kaya, she's purple because for some reason, like blue shirt Bart back in the 90s, a lot of the merchandising for MMPR had Rita in purple. It's alongside the dinosaur coins on the chest for them, the Power Rangers.
Oh, that's true. She doesn't come with the telescope and the Toei light ball that they tossed around 10 different shows.
I like the Toei light ball.
I kind of want it though. Still, I kind of want all the Ritas. It's just we finally got good Rita figures. Like Super 7 and Hasbro finally got a good Rita out in the same month. So, anyways, the long story short is that where Marvel Legends will re-release Black Widow with 2 new heads and then upgrade her to include double jointed pinless elbows. Black Series can't put thigh swivels on a new mold.
Is that new Black Widow and new Hawkeye good? Because I still need to get those.
What are we talking about?
The new Hawkeye and new Black Widow. Are they good?
I haven't gotten the Black Widow because Target says my order will arrive sometime before September 3rd. Oh, sorry, sometime before August 3rd.
I've seen that a couple of times.
I have not seen it, and I'm half tempted to have somebody pick one up for me because my stores do not have the new Black Widow. Target is not shipping my pre-order, and but the Hawkeye's great. The new Hawkeye's fantastic. He's sitting on my desk right now. I got a whole West Coast thing going on.
That's great.
This Hawkeye is the best Hawkeye Marvel Legends we've ever gotten.
So what's the plans for this week?
But yeah, no, I still don't have that Black Widow, so maybe we need to talk.
So what's the plan for this week for the channel? I'll send out.
Has anybody got a single Cobra Kai Lightning collection shipped from the website? So for context, Target just hasn't been shipping anybody's pre-orders. I had Guardians figures on orders for 3 months before they didn't ship them though. I had to find them in store. Yeah, I just kept finding stuff in store. My Black Widow, they were like, approve the delay, and I was like, okay. And then it's been like a month, and they haven't even like tried to delay it again. And I really want that Black Widow. So, anyways, Target's really bad. I just need my Matt Room Indie. I'll be happy after that.
So
real quick, Target's so bad at pre-orders. I got my Joe Fix-It from Walmart, no trouble, no delays. Just showed up, and I'm like, okay, something's wrong. Video plans for the week. Yes, you will be seeing. I'm just going to give teasers. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. I got 2 things going on. So Tuesday will be a short about a person in green carrying a sword. Wednesday will be a review about a person in green carrying a sword, which is a different person. Thursday will be a short. It's depending on how much time I have. It'll either be about a group of characters that I just mentioned, or it'll be another every figure I own of, depending on how much time I got.
I was hoping it'll be another green guy with a sword.
I wish I had a third green guy with a sword. And then Friday will be a brand new viewing guide for a new franchise. This time it's going to be Star Trek, because Friday is Star Trek's anniversary. So Star Trek viewing guide is coming Friday. And that one's going to be even more special than normal. So
how much are you covering? Are you
covering everything that's canon? And that's basically just movies and TV shows. Because Star Trek canon, for those that don't know, Star Trek canon is insanely simple. Star Trek canon, the only things that are canon is what is on screen in a movie or TV show. Everything else is beta canon. If it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, you don't worry about it. The TV shows and movies are not beholden to anything that happens outside of the TV shows and movies. So yeah.
So no comics, I'm assuming then?
No comics, but I will be doing a video in a couple months. I will do a video in a couple months talking about Star Trek comics, specifically about IDW's current Star Trek comics, because they're amazing. And I want to talk about them, but they are legally not canon, but they totally fit. Also, Psycho has made this custom. It's a Defender Fest, Adam. Look at that. See, this is the thing. I never have the patience for custom work, so I'm always impressed when I see something like this.
I used to as a kid. Now I don't.
Yeah, I don't have the patience that I used to. Anyways, that's really incredible work. I love seeing stuff like that. So, on that note, enjoy the videos this week. The Star Trek viewing guide is going to take a lot out of me, so if I'm just a zombie next week, you know why. Happy Star Trek month indeed, Don Ranger Power. The Star Trek viewing guide is going to be made in 2 parts. It'll be 1 video. I'm just going to tell you guys this part. The first time we're going to talk about the release order, and then we will talk about the chronological order, because that is 2 different ways to experience Star Trek. So that'll be pretty cool. And yeah, I'm not a zombie guy until I am a zombie guy. But anyways, my favorite zombie, Kamen Rider Buffa. But yeah, so that Star Trek viewing guide, it will be a little bit different than the previous ones, but it'll be in the same spirit of that you can look at the guide without knowing stuff, and you can continue, figure out what's a good entry point, or figure out where it's a good place to pick up if you've already experienced stuff. So that'll be that. But anyways, that's it for the stream. I'm just vamping. Someone stop me. Someone say words.
Follow me. Follow us on the socials, Darko C43 and Fighter Cows. Cows, you stream Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna stream this week only because it's the heat wave.
Yep, live through the heat wave. That'll also help. That'll also give me a chance to work on video stuff too, because that Star Trek video is going to be a bit of a monster.
And you wanted to chat with us? Join our Discord. The link below.
Yep, come join the Discord. We are having a good time, and if you want because we have rules on our Discord. It's not It's a safe for work Discord.
It's not
If you
want
not safe for work stuff on Discord,
You go to my Discord.
go check out the Geek Fighters Discord. So that's like our sister Discord. You know, we're sibling Discords.
Basically, yeah, exactly.
No, you're
Mine's the little cleaner one. That one's the little saucier one.
No,
Yeah.
like what we were saying is, so Firecast is the George Lopez, while you're the Jaime Reyes Discord.
Basically.
Oh yeah,
If you're
Spin Dash.
over 18, look at the Core Values channel.
Yes. Yeah, if you're over 18. Spin Dash mentioned the Team Kamen Rider Naruto World P Bandai thing. I want to see how that shakes out before I discuss it, because it might be good.
Yeah, that
We'll see. Team Kamen Rider saying anything is hopeful. But yeah, live long and prosper, everybody. If you're a Star Trek Lower Decks fan, Thursday is the season comes back. So check it out. I can say that because it's animation. It's not struck work. I do really think that it'll be a good week. So on that note, we've been streaming long, and I appreciate everybody for being here. I will see you all next week on a stream, and don't forget to check out the videos this week. There will be good stuff. And someone had to hit me with the Doom Patrol right there at the end. One day, they're going to air it, and then we're going to see what happens. And on the end of the day, we'll see you all next week for another stream.